6:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. The Titans released their first unofficial depth chart of the 2022 season. Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akina listed as the team's starting receivers, followed by Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. NPF starting right tackle and recently acquired Dennis Daly, the backup at left and right tackle. Dylan Radin's listed as the backup at right guard behind Nate Davis. Danico Autry listed as a starting outside linebacker opposite Bud Dupree. That is the immediate response to Harold Landry being out with a torn ACL. Here's Coach Mike Vrabel on Landry's injury.
It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. Feel terrible, obviously, for Harold and the work that he's put in and his value to our football team. But we have to move on and get everybody ready to go win.
Giants at Titans kick off 3:25 Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Mike Keith and Dave McGinnis with the call, courtesy of Titans Radio. Clemson defeated Georgia Tech yesterday. Wasn't even close. 41-10. Tigers with the win. Braves at the Oakland A's tonight. 8:40 the first pitch. Atlanta just one game behind the Mets for first place in the NL East. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on the Tuesday edition, Labor Day in the rear view. College football is here, and it is an NFL game week in Nashville, Tennessee. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster, the best producer in the world, Jonathan Schaefer. My name is Will Bowling. We are Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Yeah.
And Ramon Foster didn't get to work out this morning, so he has got extra aggression to give you over the next 4 hours.
I'm talking about anybody can get it this morning,
Good morning.
Anybody can get it this morning. Well, you want to talk about, and you know what's even worse
You're
about
opening
it?
up a book. Do you have like a list of names of people who've wronged you there?
I should just start
Ryan from the
checking
office?
people off right now, man. That's what I should start doing. And I had it planned last night, dog, right? Okay, I was like, all right, Mom, let's go. Let's hit this gym. Like, I know 4:05 is early, but screw it. We're going to get right. We're trying to get right.
It's very early.
Summertime fine happens in the fall and winter, okay? That's my motto. That's what I'm sticking with.
Put in the work in the offseason.
Put in the work in the offseason. Yesterday, summer officially over, technically. Okay, even though it's still going to be warm and decent. But
certain colors we can and can't wear, apparently. I don't know what those rules are, though.
I'm still going to wear my white Air Force Ones. Okay. Leaves are falling off the trees a little bit, and I was tripping like, is this a real thing? Okay. Like, yeah, the leaves are actually starting to fall a little bit.
Right.
With that being said, I made a decision last night. Getting up, going to the gym after this holiday weekend. Rode my bike yesterday, felt good about that, and was able to make an excuse. I was like, all right, Mo, you did all right yesterday. You can sit this one out.
Earned a little bit of goodwill.
Yeah. No, I'm getting up. Go to the gym. And I'm like, all right, parking lot a little light this morning. It's one of them. Like,
and why was that?
my antenna, I was like, parking lot's a little light this morning. Pull up around the front, and I was like, maybe they got the motion sensor, like, inside the building where if you move, then all the lights turn on. No. The freaking gym was closed. Okay?
Get up at 4:05 a.m., and the gym is closed when you get there.
The gym was closed, y'all.
So they open at what, 5?
It opened at 5.
Oh, no.
Well, now listen, we the morning crew, man. We got it. We got to get in here and set the tone for everybody, okay?
Sure.
We walk in this room, in this studio, and you know what we do? We set the thermometer, all right?
That's right.
We set the temp. So I can't come in here lagging. Will, I'm ready to throw mitts this morning, is what I'm telling you.
Have you been there before?
Yeah.
Before 5 a.m.?
I'm there all the time.
Really?
That's what time I go. I usually get to the gym by 4:20. That's where I'm at. So I had to set.
Why were they closed?
How come you get to the gym at 4:20 yet my eyes are red?
Wow. 6:05 a.m.
Shout out to Cousin Hightower. With that being said, I'm always there that early. And maybe it was because the overnight lady was celebrating last night, or the overnight guy was celebrating and didn't want to come in. I was just like, this is a ruined morning right now.
Labor Days.
They
Your gym.
They really took their 24 hours.
That's tough.
I was hot about it. Like, I was just like, I walked right in. I just said, "What up to Shay?"
Mike Moan was genuinely grumpy.
I was grumpy.
Like when Ron Slay's food is delivered at just the slightest bit of not what he ordered.
Yeah. Hey,
I've
promise
seen
you.
it.
Yeah, no, exactly that, man. Like I went in expecting to get a great burn. I had modified my lift and everything. Like they had me doing dips. I hate dips, man.
Yeah.
So I changed it out. I was gonna do tricep push downs and everything. See,
you were working through it.
I was locked in.
That's
now I got to figure out when I got to go get all this energy and anger out.
Dips your least favorite lift?
Dips, push-ups, and lunges.
Oh, lunges are the worst.
Oh,
Lunges are absolutely the worst.
hate lunges.
Like the Bulgarian squats too, where you're like putting your foot up on the bench and you like basically lunge, like holding a dumbbell.
I absolutely hate it. Like
That's basically a Borat squat.
Very nice.
Very nice.
And 3 plays.
Yeah.
Great success.
I hate push-ups, man. Decline push-ups, incline push-ups.
It's the ones with like the little like the exercise ball that's like moving.
Now, see, I could do those, like
Really?
the stability ones,
Those are
because it's a
harder.
challenge.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
why. But I hate the ones where, you
weird.
got the weighted ball and you lift on one side, roll the ball over to the other side.
Yeah.
I hate that one. I don't know, man. Just
Pull-ups for me.
You hate pull-ups? I
I
actually
hate
like
pull-ups.
pull-ups.
Hate them. I'm
Do
just
you?
really I was bad at them in high school,
Yeah.
and I got better in college when I
That was
ran.
me.
It was not great. Not great.
So, yeah, I ended up checking this gym's social media account, and it
Let
said
'em know.
opening at 5.
Let them know.
I checked it about 4:40 this morning. No. I will listen to me. Hot ain't even the word, okay? I'm just sitting there.
Did you get
like,
here early then?
Who, me? Yeah, I got here a little bit early. I got
Yeah.
here about, I left at 5 because I needed to see them walk in
Okay.
the gym.
Yeah.
I got here at like 5:18.
To see them walking.
I did.
That's great.
Because I didn't want to just sit in this parking lot and
Yeah,
just
sure.
stool. So I was just like, all right, I'll wait it out. And
That's not
Starbucks didn't open up till later either. So I'm over here drinking the break room coffee right now.
Jet fuel.
Oh, good.
Hey,
Hey,
Schaefer, good morning.
Good
morning,
morning. We
Shay.
actually have audio from when Ramon realized that the gym was
awesome.
closed.
Great.
what is it?
This is awesome.
Everybody heard.
I remember the day that Schaefer cut that in his little office back here. I was so proud of himself. I'm like, I'm going to go find this today.
What's crazy is even if I got burned like that this morning, it wasn't worse than LSU, okay?
No, it was not. No, it was not.
Oh, it
Because
wasn't.
Ramon Foster was a decorated kicker in his day at Ripley High School and
I
probably
was.
could have made an extra point despite how angry he was this morning.
Oh, my gosh. I made that. With a flat shoe.
Look,
With a flat toe shoe.
the reason why it was such a great weekend and the college football was so great was because it was so bad
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
You had fantastic football games between Notre Dame and Ohio State was a much better game than we expected. You had Florida State and LSU was a much better game than I expected because it was so ugly. It was two toddlers hitting each other with pool noodles the entire game. Just absolutely horrible football. And then you have last night, the worst 41-10 game I think I have ever seen in the history of American tackle football. Clemson is not good. They're not. They're just not good.
Yeah.
That's the worst anyone has looked beating a team by 31 points.
And the
Like,
only reason
bad.
they did that because Georgia Tech couldn't put
Also bad.
Yes. Could not put. And I got a homeboy of mine that's on the staff there, and I just got to tell him, hey, man, yo.
Somebody needs a timeout coordinator.
Yeah.
Or if anyone needs a timeout coordinator, they need it really, really
It's
badly. All three of their timeouts in the second half were gone by the 14-minute mark.
Yeah.
And one of them was just because Dabo acted like he was going to fake a punt
Yep.
and got him to use his last timeout. Anyone wearing a flat bill should not be taken seriously as a college football head coach. This should be like a rite of passage. Save that for baseball.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing?
Hey, he's protecting a quarterback that probably doesn't need to be protected anymore, and DJ Uiagalelei.
He's not the guy.
He will.
He's just not the guy.
He's not the guy right now. And of course, he talked highly about him and how, he reshaped himself physically. He took onus on the offseason, has to get better, and did. It wasn't it. And even you said it when the young rookie, when the young freshman 5-star got in, different ball game.
Cade Klubnik, Westlake High School,
Yes, man.
home of one Drew Brees.
Hey,
out of the state
now.
of Texas.
5-star quarterback.
5-star quarterback who gave everyone their overs last night.
When-
So if you're like me and you were on the over in Georgia Tech and Clemson, Cade Klubnik is now a household name. So thank you to Cade Klubnik for your service.
I mean, even
What's his name again?
Cade Klubnik.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Cade
I know,
Klubnik,
right?
Cade Klubnik, Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, you started to hurt. Yeah.
How's bragging camp going?
No,
6,
but
10 a.m. on Tuesday.
you see him start to struggle there a little
Wow.
bit though on the last Cade Club.
I was working through it.
Little
Yeah.
D started getting in there.
But DJU, man, as you called him a second ago, 19 for 32, 209 yards. He had a QBR of a 39.4.
It's not great.
He reminded me of our off-brand Joe Milton.
Oh, God.
Am I wrong?
That's tough.
The way he missed?
I don't know if you want to be an on-brand Joe
I
Milton.
mean, the way he missed, though, was
Respectfully.
wide left and right. I was just like, goodness gracious,
That's true.
dude.
It wasn't over the guy's
It
head.
wasn't over the guy's head. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's the great value version of it,
was-
which I like great value, too.
Fair enough.
Okay.
He was seeing some ghosts, too. I mean, like last year, you could say, hey, Clemson had a bad offensive line. Just weren't up to par at that position the way they expected to be. And you could kind of excuse some of the performance that he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you couldn't really excuse much of that last night. He just wasn't good.
He wasn't good. He wasn't. And they got some good parts to their team, too.
Yes, and he was a 5-star.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it's weird.
So, but so do you look at the way Dabo went after DJ Uiagalelei? Why am I getting that right? DJU.
You did not.
Uiagalelei.
Iamaliava.
I got that one.
Yeah, DJ.
I don't have to
Uiagalelei.
know DJU right now.
DJ Uiagalelei. The look that
Hey,
you just
man.
gave me.
Hey, dog.
Probably what you gave the front door. of your
down my
gym
leg.
this
I
morning.
did. It's like, you're really not going to open this door?
There was a great one of those over the weekend too.
What? What's that?
A Coach 30 video
Oh, yeah. No, he had a couple of them.
of the Oregon defense. He said, "You ain't been doing any lifting over the summer. You ain't been lifting a thing, not even the name of Jesus." That killed me.
Shout out to Coach 30, man.
Killed me.
But DJU is what I'll call him, man. He was missing left and right and low, man. I was just like, what is this? Did Dabo get too cute? You know, as far as like what he was going after as far as quarterbacks go. You know, like this kid is a West Coast kid, 5-star, yeah. So you always want the 5-star guy.
Sure.
But he's, not what Trevor was. Like, it's hard to go find that guy. Well, it legitimately is, man. That's the reason you have Tennessee spending what we think $8 million, not Tennessee Spire.
That's right.
Spending, $8 million if the rumors are true to go get a guy like this. That can really change your organization, your school. Look at what Texas is looking like right now. By the way, their quarterback didn't look all that great early on.
He got a parking ticket during the game too.
You think he's
Saw
going to have
that
to
the other
pay
day.
it? He definitely going to have
No,
to pay
you
it.
can cover that with the schools can cover that starting this year.
They can?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Dude, you would have caught me not parking in the right spot one
Dude.
single time.
People weren't even graduating because of that.
I know.
Wow. They held
I know.
Ron Slay's transcripts because of that.
They really?
Yeah,
That's great. 615-737-1045. Ron Slade joins us in hour number 4 today at 9:20.
Yeah.
David Ubben of The Athletic at 8:20 today, hitting the college football headlines. We've got a ton of college football to react to. But Ramon Foster, we also have an unofficial Titans depth chart
That's
for
all we
week
gonna
1.
say.
We will officially break that down coming up. Take a look at one interesting replacement option the Titans have for Harold Landry. We'll do that coming up next. 615-737-1045. It's Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
Summer's over, but that joint pain is still there, and it's time to do something about it. It's Ramon Foster now. I want you to call QC Kinetics now. You've put it off long enough. It's time to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees and back and shoulder and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatment with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Regenerative medicine uses highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. And QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough natural approach to eliminating joint pain. Lots of people here have done this, and they're living life to the fullest, pain-free. Don't assume the old ways of dealing with joint pain are the only ways. Call QC Kinetics today. Stop putting it off. Call now for a free consultation at 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. Again, that's 615-249-4024.
McCoy to snap. Ram with the hole to send it to free football. Snap, spot, blocked! Yeah! It's no good! Yeah! It's blocked! Shaheed Brown got his mitt on it! Fire up the war chant and plant the spear! Nose wind! Nose wind!
There's the Florida State Radio Network over the weekend as FSU beats LSU. They were having a mid-off on national television. Two just very mid programs.
But a daggone good game.
I can't really talk, but still, it was.
Yeah, no, we got no room.
It was bad football in an entertaining way. Last night was bad football in a not so entertaining way.
Man,
Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons, 104.5 The Zone.
I actually thought it was a good game, Will.
Last night?
No, the Florida State LSU game.
It was fine.
I thought it was very good. Considering.
Yeah, it wasn't until the end of the third quarters when it picked up.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but of course, seeing LSU be bad and the fact that we got to play them and the way Brian
that
Kelly.
was phenomenal.
That game turned from a loss to a win for me literally after week one. I'm not going to lie to you. Tennessee should absolutely beat LSU.
They should. They just lost their
LSU's got a
five-star D tackle.
They've got a cheese grater of an offensive line.
Oh my gosh.
It was bad.
And they're usually really good. Can we
Really
bring
bad.
up the obvious? Because I brought it up to Shafe. Shout out to Shafe. He came through Sunday, kicked it with us. Well, he's just always big timing us. It's all good.
My invite must have been lost in the mail.
Was his invite lost,
That's
Shafe?
tough.
I thought I told you to text.
It's really tough.
Yeah, you didn't tell me to do that. I was denying the first one. The second one, I went, no.
It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Hey, with that being said, though, Brian Kelly, like I know head coaches are like managers, or just like
he wasn't saying
facilitate-
a word.
Nothing.
He was not speaking to anyone.
Am I the
on
only
sideline.
one tripping?
No, like a lot of people noticed this, and I saw it too. Like Brian Kelly was just kind of sitting there, just like,
He's a figurehead.
He was like, "Oh, second muff punt for my first punt returner." Okay, interesting.
Dog. He's not the guy that I thought he was on the sideline
Well,
like
he
this.
he was focused on what him and his family were going to do after the game.
I looked
That's
at
all that he was
Schaefer
thinking
Ramos. I was just like, yo, what is Brian Kelly's job? Like, he's not coaching like I like he was. I know he hears everything in his headset. Head coaches have free range to be on any channel they want to on the sideline. And for him, he didn't talk to, it seemed like, any freaking like coordinator, no coach. He asked a player a question one time. His biggest assignment was to talk to the referees.
It was really weird too. His halftime comment about how bad the first half was.
Yeah.
When he told the sideline reporter,
yeah.
he said, "Well, I don't really think we could play any worse, but maybe we could. This is my first game." Like that was the vibe I got from him the entire game.
That was pretty funny.
This was like this was literally just like, oh, I guess we'll just kind of wait and see what I've got here. I don't really know yet. Like, buddy, this is your team.
You had the entire camp.
You had a whole offseason for this, man.
And then, of course, they didn't name starters until the game started, right? They were the team that held it close to the vest.
They named Jaden Daniels the starter that morning over Nussmeier, the backup, who can't run, but is a better quarter. I didn't think Jaden Daniels is very good.
I didn't know what to think of him because
the last drive was fine.
It was, but like you said, it was just times like get rid of. It was almost like Malik. Like, get rid of. Then he take off running. Like, ooh, that looks good.
In college, you can get away with that.
You can get away with it.
If you're not going to throw to your first target, just run it.
But watching LSU operate, I was just like, there's way too much talent. You're right. Their friggin' offensive line got tore apart.
And then Keyshawn Booty, the wide receiver.
Oh, my.
Had 2 catches for 3 yards and then deleted everything LSU from his Instagram after the game, which I must say, it is nice to be talking about a wide receiver on another team deleting things from their Instagram that's not in this market.
Hey.
It's better to be a bystander in that.
You know what I would say? Go Vols and go get them.
That's right.
I mean, completely.
Why not?
Like, that's where I'm at. Like, you don't want the ball. I know one thing we will do at UT. You're going to get the ball.
This man never stops recruiting.
Hey, Will.
ABC always be recruiting.
Always be recruiting, man. But what a heck of a game, though, man. From at least the ending of it for the LSU Florida State.
That was great.
I have no issues whatsoever with Florida State, so I just wanted to see LSU win. I know I saw it was people, rooting for Florida. this weekend. I was just like,
Can't do that.
good game. Quarterback
Really good game.
solid.
Yeah.
But nah, fam, I'm good.
Yeah, right.
That's a hard pass for me on
You
that.
leave that over there.
Yeah, but so what was it with the Florida game then, Will?
Utah had 4 trips to the red zone that came away with 6 points.
Overrated?
No.
You think the humidity got to them?
No, I just think they had a bad day.
Okay.
Like, I think they just fumbled twice on the goal line. That's
Yeah,
why
I know,
Florida won
number
that
9.
game. Like, I got a ton of texts from friends that were just like, okay, well, Tennessee's losing to Florida now. I was like, well, no, I'm not there yet. Like, unless they fumble twice on the goal line and then have 2 chip shot field goals, they've got to take 3 on instead of scoring a touchdown, then maybe. But Utah wasn't ready for that environment.
You trip once and then you fumble the second time going to the end zone. They're running back number 9. I was thinking to myself, they did a story on you about sleeping in your car. Them Utah nights are cold, sir.
Yeah.
Don't you dare, man. I say that in a kidding way, but take advantage of like all your opportunities. Like, goodness sakes, man.
Before we continue into the college football news, a little bit of Titans news yesterday. The unofficial official depth chart, courtesy of the Tennessee Titans, and Danico Autry, Ramon Foster, is an outside linebacker. Were you surprised to see Autry listed as the starter opposite Bud Dupree?
I was.
Really?
I thought Rashad Weaver was going to get that first stab at it because Danico would be better fitted, I thought, at one of those D tackle positions or something like that. I saw Danico as a starter, but this is a thing, though, too. I think this is the starting format on paper. They'll probably end up, going with Danico and Rashad if you're asking me on the field at the same time. Tierre, I'll say this. If he gets to the point to where he's a bigger pass rush threat, then you got something as far as having Danico at outside rush, outside linebacker, man. That was a little bit of a shocker for me, man. I'll be real with you. I didn't see that coming.
It's interesting, Autry last season, you could call him one of the more underappreciated Titans that this team had on the roster.
Yeah.
After signing a 3-year, $21.5 million deal. Tied his career high with 9 sacks a season ago, 6 passes defended, and a career high 18 quarterback hits, playing next to Jeffrey Simmons inside. But he's still played a lot in different spots and on early downs as well. Next Gen Stats says that he lined up on the edge on 81.7% of early downs and had a 7.6% quarterback pressure rate in doing so. On third down, he was on the interior 66% of snaps and had a 9.4% pressure rate when doing so. So it was interesting that he was more of an edge defender on first and second down and then became an interior defender on third downs a season ago.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that was just getting Bud Dupree acclimated back into playing every down. And Bud Dupree kind of came a little bit more of a sub-package gadget edge rusher on third downs. And that's not what Bud is.
No.
Bud, when healthy, can do a little bit of everything and be not another Harold Landry, because Landry, nobody's as versatile as Harold Landry, but getting towards that area when you talk about edge rushers in this league. It's interesting. I wouldn't have expected that much productivity from Autry on the outside.
You saw it a little bit last year, though, man. He was just efficient as ever, though, Will. That was the thing about him being on the field with Big Jeff and, like, they coming in that Russian group that they have is – and I've played against Danico, too. Long body, long arm type of dude, man. That's real relentless as far as getting to the quarterback. Nothing like over-the-top special like Von Miller speed and bend and stuff like that. Yep. But one of those guys that'll overpower you to get through, okay? But, again, it comes in spots with him also, man, as far as, I'm asking myself now and over this weekend when I saw, he's the outside linebacker, well, what is the quarterback rush going to look like? Like, who's actually going to get the numbers? How many sacks did this team have last year defensively, man? They had a good bit, but I'm like, I almost expect this. This number to go down a little bit this year. They had 43 sacks last year as a defense. I'm almost at a point without the speed of Harold Landry on the outside. I don't think we can judge this defense, listeners, by the sack number. I think pressures are going to be high. I think being able to get the quarterback off his mark. But me personally, I see the number being a little bit less simply because Harold's not there, unless Shane Bowen gets to a point to where he starts to utilize Rashad and he starts to utilize Ola off the edge, or just finding a different way to get guys to the quarterback. Maybe it's blitzes. Maybe it's, the linebackers dogging up the middle and stuff like that. But that speed, that explosiveness that Harold Landry had, Danico doesn't have that, and that ain't a bad thing, but it's a matter of, okay, that number that everybody looks at as far as sacks, I don't think we can really view that this year.
Titans were 10th in the NFL with 43 sacks a season ago. I think where you need to see a difference is in the takeaways. The secondary is better. The secondary is more experienced. I don't think this Titans secondary needs as much help from the front four as it did a year ago.
Yeah.
That's what you're banking on at this point, because let's say the Titans defense just stays constant.
Yeah.
Stays where it is.
I mean, that wasn't bad last year.
At that point, when you're looking at how is this team going to improve, you're putting the onus on the offense to now improve much more than you perhaps expected it to with a healthy Harold Landry and with a different look on the Titans front seven. That's, to me, the biggest impact of this injury, Ramon, is that it is harder for this Titans defense to take a step forward, which means that somebody else, one other unit, has got to take a step forward.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the offensive line as a group that needs to take a big step 100%. Forward. But you're doing so with two new pieces, with one less veteran, and with a rookie third-round pick starting at a premium position. So I think, really, this Titans defense has got to get better.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for them to continue to replicate what they did a season ago. A season ago wasn't good enough. So,
and you know what's as far as this defense goes too, like having a new guy, DeMarcus Walker, come in and start too.
And that is, I think, the premium position this team has.
Yeah,
they're deep at the defensive line.
They are deep at the defensive line, and I know we side-eyed and when we saw they kept 7, but this was also part of it. If you expect DeMarcus Hand to be that guy this year, man, and like you said, with Laurel Murchison being put on practice squad, you still have a guy right there. But having DeMarcus Walker, Tierra Tart, Jeffrey Simmons, Bud, and Danico up front, what do you see this defense being? Me personally, Will, I see it very fit to beat the AFC South, meaning the running aspect of every team in the AFC South. They're gonna be good at it. They have bodies at backup also. They have guys that can also will just hold their point.
Sure.
So for me, I'm just saying, okay, do that really good and pressure the quarterback. As far as Jeff up the middle, like I said, if Tierra grows a little bit more and gets more pressure up the middle, or he's able to have Zach Cunningham. And again, I'm challenging him this year to be like, yo, you got to get after. If coverage ain't your thing, then we got to see your rush skills up the middle, man. And that's where I'm at as far as this defense goes with the subtraction of Harold at this point. Is you are a bigger body defensive front, and you got to play bully ball. First and second down runs, Will, they got to be shut down more often than not. There can't be much wiggle room because as far as the speed on the edge, it ain't what it was without Harold. Right. That wouldn't bother me when I found out last Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Like the Harold ACL just really made me feel a different type of way.
I mean, when you list the guys in this defense who you trust the most, it's Jeffrey Simmons, Kevin Byard, and Harold Landry.
Yep.
Like it's those three veterans that are above everyone else. So this defense has got to major in something else, because I don't think this defense can major in rushing the passer like it did a season ago. I think this can be an elite run-stopping defense.
Right.
I think DeMarcus Walker, I think Tierra Tart.
Yep.
I think Jeffrey Simmons, obviously, what they have at that front seven and on the defensive line, take away the elementary aspects of offenses that play you week in and week out.
Yeah.
Make them beat you through the air against your defensive backs, who I think this organization really likes. I mean, you talk to people in that building, you talk to people that are covering the team in that building every day, whichever one it is, they love Roger McCreary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't hear people talk about a rookie the way that people have talked about Roger McCreary every single year.
Right.
And we haven't heard that, I mean, in a minute here.
Not like this.
Since that 2019 draft class that was so good for the Titans.
Not like this, man. And this also holds true a little bit to what Mike Keith and Coach Mack said and Rhett B on Titans Radio at the draft night. They feel like if it was said that if the Titans didn't get that extra pick from Philly, then and if they'd have stayed, what was that, 24, 26?
26.
26.
Yep.
They felt like Roger McCreary would have been that pick at 26.
100%.
Imagine that. They had this guy potentially pegged as a first-round draft pick. And not only that, Will, beat out, what was it, 2 years ago, first-round draft pick, or last year's first-round draft pick?
2020.
2020's first-round draft pick. No, that was Isaiah.
2020?
Yeah.
Yeah, 21. You're right.
21. Was it? Were they the first year? Were they the same year?
No, yeah, no.
No. It was Isaiah.
2020 was Isaiah.
But
I was thinking pandemic because Caleb tested positive the week of that draft and was home. I was like, oh, he was home. No,
and it was actually Panda.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But Roger McCreary starting over Caleb. Is there much fuss to be made about this?
Absolutely not.
No?
Nope. Plenty of reps to go around at that position.
Okay.
And Caleb Farley coming off of an ACL.
Yes, this is very true.
I think that the Titans are being smart of understanding the fragile nature of that commodity that they have in Caleb Farley. And I know we say respectfully, like jokingly, like I do mean that respectfully, because the guy's got a long injury history.
Yeah.
And the guy's coming off a major injury. So I have no problem and we've said this before, Titans have the luxury of easing somebody along in the secondary.
They do.
Because they've got depth, they've got talent, they've got young talent at that position, and they've got Kevin Byard.
But can I push back on you a little bit right here?
Please do.
If you got Christian Fulton, who's CB1, you like him, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be a starter, barring any injuries or anything like that. Even past injury, I think he still comes back and become a starter.
Sure.
Roger McCreary now is a rookie who's CB2.
Yep.
Okay? You also have safeties in place. You got Byard, you got Hooker. You're good to go as far as your starters go, man. If Roger McCreary does well and becomes a starter and stays a starter, where does Caleb Farley go from here? Because as far as CB1 and CB2, there's only two starters there. Yes, you have your nickels, you have your dimes, you have all of those things, Will. But as far as like his career goes, if Roger doesn't let go of the line,
I don't think you're worried about it.
He's not going to start.
So
what I'm asking is, where is Caleb at this point moving forward?
Let's continue that after the break, because I think there's a lot of different ways you could go with that. And the question is really, where does Caleb Farley go next for this Titans defense if Roger McCreary just becomes the guy at the second cornerback position? 615-737-1045 is the number. It's Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 1045 The Zone.
Mortgage interest rates are starting to, they're up, they're down, they're a little iffy right now. And I'm here to tell you this. The guys at the Home Loan Expert are still locking in their clients with great loans that are a quarter point lower than the national average. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't gotten your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. By refinancing your 30-year mortgage with the Home Loan Expert, you can still save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars with a cash-out refi, okay? This is what you can do with that cash-out refi. You can pay off your credit card. You can make some home remodeling projects a reality. Stick some cash in the bank and stop living paycheck to paycheck. Their clients receive, on average, about $54,000 with a simple cash-out refi at closing. The housing market right now is starting to cool a little bit, but the inventory is still low, and homes are selling fast. They need to get you locked in today. The Home Loan Expert has a lower rate. They have loan programs for almost everyone and a 10-day closing guarantee. They can answer all of your questions and make sure you are ready to close the deal. The 10-day closing guarantee only available at thehomeloanexpert.com.
Join 104.5 The Zone's 3HL as we broadcast live from Scoreboard Bar and Grill this Friday from 3 to 6 for our kickoff to football party. Stop by as we officially kick off the football weekend at Scoreboard Bar and Grill. While you're there, sign up for your chance to win tickets and prizes at Scoreboard. For more info, visit 1045thezone.com/events.
Thank you, Jonathan Schaefer. Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 1045 The Zone. Will Bowling and Ramon Foster with you, where you can join us at 615-737-1045. The question posed before the break, Roger McCreary takes over the cornerback 2 position on the unofficial official Titans depth chart for week 1. What does that mean for Caleb Farley's long-term future with the Tennessee Titans if Roger McCreary is just the guy? And honestly, the answer I have to this is I don't really care.
I feel you.
Because
I understand it.
As multiple as wide receivers are and as deep as teams are at the wide receiver position, specifically in the AFC, I think we're trending more towards base defensive personnel having an extra defensive back.
That's fair.
Especially when that extra defensive back in Elijah Molden at times is a good tackler who can rush the quarterback, who can do a lot of things for you. But, Ramon, I think as multiple as the Titans can be in the defensive backfield, the better for them long term.
Yeah.
Because I think at his best, Roger McCreary is a slot corner, but you've got other options at slot corner right now with Molden and Uiagalelei. So I like the options this team has to match up and play, cat defense on any given week against any type of wide receiver with 3 different guys that could put in the slot and feel okay about it.
This is very true. I'll just say this, though, as far as, being the guy, though, as Roger McCreary has – do we say he won it, or is it judged fairly?
No, he won it.
He won it. All right, there we go. Okay, it's clear. But a guy with that much talent and Caleb Farley, who has to take a little bit of a backseat. And to your point, he will play a role. There will become
he's a crucial player for 100%. This defense.
There is a point in the season where he may have to be called upon. As far as, all right, look, we need you against this guy because it's just simply a better matchup, and I think that's fair. But to say that Roger McCreary has been kind of tabbed a little bit as, look, he's more talented than a second-round pick. He is a guy that's played well against good wide receivers. If he does do those same things, I just look at the fact that, okay, you just got a guy that can kind of turn into just a guy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think all the talent in the world is there, and it just sucks because he got injured because of circumstance. He ended up coming out of college with one, then he had the ACL, and he's coming back from that. And this guy, Roger McCreary, all I'm saying is I'm uber excited for him and excited for him to start this season off as a rookie. I just worry about where the projections of Caleb Farley is after this year, considering you got your guy in Christian Fulton, and if Roger McCreary stays that guy, you have, as you said a second ago, you got your nickel guys. You have Elijah already. You have Uiagalelei. You have safety backups also on this team. And it's just like, well, where does he actually fit as a starter? You can't start necessarily 3 cornerbacks, as far as who plays left and right. It's a good problem to have if you're John Robinson, but it also just begs a different, like, did you – I guess before you got Roger McCreary, did you have to go get him? Yes, you did. But I don't know if they saw Roger coming in doing what he was supposed to do this soon in camp, which says a lot about him as a young pro.
I think the Titans are making the decision with Caleb Farley that his long-term development is best served by – taking time with the process and easing him along, both physically and mentally. And I think it's important to remember, too, the history that he has at that position. Coming into Virginia Tech as a wide receiver, as long as he is, as raw as he still is at this point in his development, I just think the injury history is why they've made this decision. I'm convinced that's why they got a good plan B.
But it just sucks to say, though, that could be a pick that was, I won't say wasted, but it's just like, man, we could have used something else there.
I mean, what did Jeremy Fowler said with us last week?
Be a star.
It says, I see superstar potential with this guy. Mike Keith said that about Christian Fulton as well and said, I think this guy could be a Samari Roll, Cortland Finnegan level CB1 for this Titans defense.
When it comes to it, nobody can take their foot off the gas then, which is what you want. The ultimate competitive situation.
And when you think about the Titans' run to the AFC Championship game in 2019, the play that I always look back on is Patrick Mahomes spinning through the entire defense. And the guy that missed the last tackle, no disrespect to him, but it was Tremaine Brock. Was the guy that was the last corner standing for the Titans defense in 2019 because everyone else was injured. Including Malcolm Butler that year in that 2019 team. So I think at that position, you've given yourself very competitive depth.
You have.
And you've given yourself the luxury of playing 4 or 5 corners on any given Sunday and feeling really good about the level at that position, regardless of who's out there. Christian Fulton is always going to be out there. Everyone else, pretty up for grabs at this point. Because now Ugo Amadi's pushing, Elijah Molden a good bit inside. So that's the position group I'm the most fascinated to watch this weekend. And it's a good way for them to start because it's not a great New York Giants wide receiver core that they're going to have to battle against in week number 1. 1 hour down here this morning, Tuesday edition, even though it feels like a Monday on the Tuesday edition of Ramon and Will. Coming up next, we reset the headlines around college football. Take a look at last night's ugly win for Clemson. Yes, it was ugly, despite the fact that they won by 31 points. We'll do that coming up next. It's Ramon and Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Schaefer here from my friends at Lee Company. When you hear Lee Company, what do you think of? Well, really, they can do it all when it comes to heating and air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical. Right now, you can save $20 on any service call, HVAC, plumbing, or electrical, when you get a hold of the folks at Lee Company. Again, all these great services, heating and air, plumbing, electrical, $20 off any service by calling 615-567-1000. You can also find out more at leecompany.com. Call them now. Save that money. 615-567-1000. Lee Company. All you need. 7:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. The Titans released their first unofficial depth chart of the 2022 season. Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akina listed as the team's starting receivers, followed by Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. NPF, the starting right tackle, and also recently acquired Dennis Daly, the backup at left and right tackle. Dylan Radin's listed as the backup at right guard behind Nate Davis. Danico Autry listed as a starting outside linebacker opposite Bud Dupree. That apparently is the immediate response to Harold Landry being out with a torn ACL. Here's Coach Mike Vrabel talking about Landry and his injury.
It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. I feel terrible, obviously, for Harold and the work that he's put in and his value to our football team, but we have to move on and get everybody ready to go win.
Giants at Titans kickoff 3:25 Sunday at Nissan Stadium. League Company countdown to kickoff will begin at noon. Of course, with the call will be Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis, courtesy of Titans Radio. College football last night, Clemson 41, Georgia Tech 10. It wasn't even that close. Braves at the Oakland A's tonight. 8:40 will be the first pitch. Atlanta just one game behind the Mets for first place in the NL East. Rory Foundation repair and waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5, The Zone.
Tuesday edition of Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen. Ramon Foster to my left. I'm Will Bowling. You can join us at 615-737-1045. Coming up, our biggest winners of the Week 1 college football weekend. Who had the best win? And there are a lot of good options. LSU's not one of them. They're the only SEC team that lost in Week 1. And Clemson last night, 41-10, a winner over Georgia Tech. As bad as a team has ever looked in a 31-point win over anyone.
LSU, you had one job, man.
Literally one.
Really, 14-0 is all we were looking for.
I was really confident they would win that game too.
Well, I saw
I had them
something.
at 4.5.
Did you?
I did.
Well, it was one of those situations like, I don't know what this game is, but LSU can win, and so can Florida State. That's the way it turned out in the end.
You want to know what the best part about that game was?
What
And
was?
the calamity that happened at the end? University of Tennessee was not involved whatsoever. Typically in games that are that stupid and punch drunk by the end of the fourth quarter, it involves Tennessee losing in a hilarious way for everyone but Tennessee fans.
Oh, do you want to hear the Florida State call of that final play?
Please.
Going to snap, Ramblett
Or the
hold,
LSU
send
call?
it to free
Oh, Florida
football,
State call.
snap, spot, blocked! Yeah! It's no good! Yeah! It's blocked! Shaheed Brown got his mitt on it! Fire up the war chant and plant the spear!
Don't like that.
Knowles win!
Hell yeah.
Don't like that at all.
No.
And then
well.
here's the LSU call.
The all-important point after in a 24-23 ball game. Here's the snap. Placement down. Kick on the way, and it is blocked, and it hits the crossbar. No good. And Florida State going to survive this one 24-23.
That was a really good call. I'm going to be honest. That was a
Actually,
really good call for a team that just got a gut punch of a loss.
That was better than I expected.
It was a lot better than I expected.
I thought you were going to play something like, oh, no, we suck again.
Like when
I thought it was going to be that.
like when or you could have played the call when Eli Gold, Alabama lost to Texas A&M last year, and they just didn't say anything.
They
for
didn't
about
say anything?
90 seconds.
Goodness.
It wasn't great.
But
That game was crazy, and usually games like that involve the University of Tennessee.
not this time.
Not
Will.
this time. Not today.
Let the PTSD go, man.
Oh, are you kidding me?
So,
God, like,
Shay, where's
how
our
long have I been
drop
alive?
at again, man?
For which one?
Everybody hurts. Like, man, like goodness.
Yeah, that's how LSU fans are feeling this morning.
That's how you feeling this morning,
Not
Will.
always. Are you kidding me? You know the era of Tennessee football I grew up in.
I know, but enjoy nice things, Will.
That's true.
Everybody hurt.
That brings me so much joy. That's just
That
fantastic.
does, but Tennessee, like, having a decent start doesn't. Will, Vols fans, come on, man.
That's fine.
You got to hide it better, Billiam.
It's fine.
How you gonna be Will the Bully and you out here just like everybody hurts right now? It's not us.
Who is not hurting today is Clemson. This game was kind of close in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I don't really know how. Georgia Tech had not scored in 10 consecutive quarters, and they scored their first touchdown since early November against Clemson on defense.
What?
Like and this was weird, and I try not to be overly critical of broadcast teams because that's a hard job, and I don't want people, nitpicking everything that I say, and I don't know, like I guess do what you want, but like they just kept trying to make Clemson happen. Like quit trying to make Clemson happen. That team is not going to the college football playoff this year.
Yeah.
Not with DJ Uiagalelei at quarterback. It's just not going to happen.
Can't say that again.
Even in the fourth quarter of a game where DJ Uiagalelei had a QBR of 39. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
Uiagalelei.
Thank you. Him too. Had a QBR of 39. They're going through their playoff predictions in the fourth quarter saying, well, I think if Uiagalelei and Clemson, I think this team could really make a run of the college football play. No, they're not. That team is not going to the playoff. Maybe in a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
That team just wasn't good.
It's just not.
It was ugly football.
I'll tell you who else had some ugly football over the weekend, too, and they keep – it's not they, it's just them. Nebraska.
Best one-on-one team in the country.
Nebraska.
That's the way you have to talk about Nebraska is every time you talk about them, you have to say what their record is and say they're the best that team in the country.
Who did they even play?
North Dakota.
Yeah,
North Dakota State, right?
No,
North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Also not even the good North Dakota.
No, they wouldn't have beaten North Dakota State.
Shave.
The Bison. The Bison. Correct grammar of Bison, by the way.
They were at the 7-7 going into halftime with North Dakota.
It wasn't great.
And considering, like, is Scott Frost off? Like, is he just not a good coach? Like, where is it? Like, because he shouldn't be holding 7-7 against North Dakota with Nebraska's tradition and just players that they have. Well, this is the other part of it too.
Yeah.
Dummies. Well, what was the report that started off like last week? The offensive line was just getting beat into the ground.
Oh, yeah.
They're
it was
throwing up.
The offensive line is throwing up at practice
about
still.
5 times a day.
And Scott Frost said, that's not because they're out of shape. It's because our new O-line coach is working them so hard.
You're killing them. You're killing them.
It's not great.
That's why you're 7-7 going into the half with North Dakota. Oh my gosh,
Not
man!
even the good North Dakota.
Just
Just normal North Dakota.
Normal North Dakota.
North Dakota. It's like humble Hendersonville, normal North Dakota.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. But college football is back. I'm fully enjoying it. This past weekend was just like, yeah, we're here now.
It was that Nebraska game was interesting. Wasn't there another onside kick in that game?
It better not have been. I swear to you. Come on, Scott Frost. If you're really trying to get fired, just say that. North Carolina, Appalachian State. I was praying that North Carolina lost that one.
that was a tough one. So North Carolina ends up surviving in that game. 2 missed 2-point conversions for App State. And then North Carolina quickly scores a touchdown. And because they didn't know, hey, dude, just go down. Just take a knee at the 10 and knee this thing out, and let's go to the house. Boy, that one was great.
That was great.
And then you had that one, and then you had NC State ECU going on at the exact same time.
Yes.
Where ECU, the poor ECU kicker, man. The poor ECU kicker.
Why the poor him?
Because he missed an extra point to try to tie the game at 21 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he did.
ECU gets the ball back.
No, he shanked it.
Oh, yeah,
is what it was. That was a terrible extra point kick.
And then they get the ball back, and he misses a field goal as time expires, and they lose the game.
They bragged about how good of a kicker he was.
I thought he was going to have a James Wilhoit moment.
What you mean? Oh, you talking about
Tennessee,
big
Florida.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Florida, and 05?
04.
04.
Yeah, it was 04.
I was at this game.
I was there.
You were. Did you
I was
play?
on the team. No, I didn't play that
okay.
game.
No, I was at that game. Fun story actually about that game. I was a kid, and yesterday, and I fell asleep somehow during the missed extra point, and I woke up right as he was about to kick the game-winning field goal, and then he made it. But if for anyone who don't know the story, Tennessee, James Wilhoit misses an extra point against Florida in 2004. And then he comes back and makes 50-yarder, 51-yarder to win the game as time expires. The Vern Lundquist call. Talk about redemption. I was really hoping that there was going to be a Wilhoit moment for ECU.
No, he didn't get that one. That
wasn't in the cards.
That was bad. That was terribly bad on ECU. And I knew they were a good team. I've seen guys in the past come from their college. They got good prospects. The program was well, but they just couldn't pull it out, man. The same thing goes to App State. App State,
North Carolina delivered.
They did deliver, but boy, it was by the skin of their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legitimately, it was nothing else they could do to try to win that game other than how they finished it off, man.
It was a good one. Two of those games, you kind of get like teams just playing unbelievably out of their skin against in-state rivals that they have no business beating, probably.
No.
App State, though, you can certainly make the argument they had business winning that game. They beat them last year. But ECU, NC State, early contender for most overrated team out of week one.
Yeah.
NC State had high expectations this year.
They did.
Top 15 rating.
Yep.
Good quarterback coming back.
The top 5 pick.
Not really an athlete.
That's right.
By the way, you just got to bring this up. Did not see this coming.
What's that?
James Madison versus MTSU.
44-7.
Oh.
JMU, welcome to FBS football. That was tough.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how you bounce back from that one, man.
JMU is another one of those underdog programs, though, that you just like. They got guys like Kent State is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Eastern and Western
Didn't
Michigan.
expect a Kent State mention on today's show. I'm not gonna lie
But that's
to you.
because there's so many. You look in the league, they got like tons of guys in the
you're right.
league.
You're
You
right.
know, and James Madison, they got a sprinkle of a few guys, but hey,
44-7.
44-7.
I see JMU.
Yeah.
Came out of nowhere. JMU coming in with the same energy as Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina
Yeah.
entered FBS football and was pretty good. JMU appears to be hitting the ground running.
Before we go into the break, too, number 1 team in the SEC, Vanderbilt.
Oh, God.
2-0.
We live in a world where Vanderbilt has 2 wins before LSU has 1. 615-737-1045. Who had the best win of the college football weekend? A lot of good candidates. 13 of them in the SEC, mind you. Not the guy and his family down in Baton Rouge. He didn't get a win, but everyone else did. Vanderbilt with a close win over Elon. Maybe that's the best win of the weekend. I hope not, but maybe it is. 615-737-1045. We'll tell you ours coming up next. Ramona Will, powered by all 4 Seasons, 1045 The Zone.
These days, more than ever, you want the most for your money. You want to make your money go farther and be assured of the best value. That's why I'm so glad we have Genesis Diamonds here. Value is at the core of what Genesis is all about. They can and do beat anyone else when it comes to diamonds, engagement rings, and fine jewelry. Genesis is the value leader because they have international connections, relationships with the best diamond cutters overseas. They pay cash on the spot and get rock bottom wholesale prices. All of those savings are passed along to you with no compromise in quality. So if you're looking for the best price on that engagement ring, you're not going to get it in one of those corporate chain or mall stores. You will get it at Genesis, a real direct importer that's both locally owned and internationally connected. Plus, you will get expert guidance from non-commissioned experts, a free lifetime warranty, and 110% diamond upgrade policy that guarantees your diamond will appreciate in price. Don't risk it. Get the most for your money every day at Genesis Diamonds. Also, check out their amazing selection in luxury pre-owned Rolexes while you are there. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Lots of big wins in the college football weekend, and the SEC dominant against many out-of-conference foes. Welcome in to Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Who had the best win of college football's opening weekend? That's the question we pose to the people at 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, what do you think? Best win of the weekend?
Probably Florida or Florida State. Those are my two go-tos.
Florida over Utah one we have not discussed a lot yet.
Or can I say this too?
Please do.
Dismiss this one a little bit earlier. I didn't dismiss it. It was just like, okay. But Georgia over Oregon.
That's mine.
Go ahead.
Georgia.
Well, you take that thunder then, Will.
Georgia, to me, by far, has the best win over the weekend.
Yeah.
11th ranked Oregon, 49-3. To me, it is the development of Stetson Bennett that makes this the biggest victory of the college football opening weekend. Stetson Bennett goes 25 of 31 with 2 touchdowns, runs for another score, and called it a day in the third quarter. Georgia treated Oregon like it was at FCST.
Yes, they did.
They treated Oregon like it was normal North Dakota in this game. 37 throws, 439 yards through the air for this Georgia offense that, to me, last year, Ramon, looked like the kind of offense that Nick Saban would have run in 2009 when you could still win national championships by being elite on defense and still being bad on offense.
Yeah.
You got to at least be above average on offense now.
You do.
This, to me, looks like a top 5 defense that might also have a top 10 offense. Because they have all of the tight ends.
All of them, okay? Tight ends hurdling kids, okay?
Darnell Washington is a weapon of mass destruction.
Oh, my gosh.
That guy at 270 pounds hurdling defensive backs. A cold shiver went down my spine. Like, that's horrifying.
Yes, it was.
Horrifying.
And not just that, man. An Oregon team who was ranked, 11th on the season, if I'm not mistaken?
11th.
And just got boat raced. And I know, of course, they can say the old advantage. Georgia had the advantage because they were in Atlanta. No, you just got beat. And you got beat really good, too, this past weekend, man. Like, and of course, it's premature to say this. Like, the Pac-12 is eliminated from the college football playoffs or anything like that. But it's just like, if that's your best, and I feel like USC is probably the best that they have in that conference now.
No doubt about it.
Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Utah took an L. If they had a bad day or not, they couldn't afford to take that L, Will. Okay? And then you have Oregon come and just get smoked the way they did. Not great. And of course, watching what USC did this past weekend, it's clear that Lincoln Riley is that dude. But even of course, you saw me this past weekend when we did our predictions on the season. I said, well, Georgia could be a team that we could, could potentially get.
No, they're still Georgia.
Georgia's different, okay?
They're still Georgia.
And of course, their coach doesn't push away from that. He lets you know, we got some really good players. Like, you say what you want to about the team, but like the way coaches recruit and stack players, and when you have Nick Saban who drops hey, we were rebuilding when you lost in the national championship, like, that's where we're at right now with Georgia. Alabama even Ohio State got tested by Notre Dame this past weekend, though.
Right.
But like the separation of what Georgia did, and of course Alabama beating Utah State, they blanked them. But they absolutely just mutilated Oregon.
They did, and they scored on each of their first 7 possessions. They only allow a field goal in this game. We mentioned the play of Stetson Bennett. But there are a lot of new faces on that defense, one of whom is the number 1 athlete in the country who has an Odell Beckham interception in this game, Malachi Starks.
Yeah.
Just set the tempo right off the bat. In
Freshman.
Yeah, true freshman.
True freshman.
Yeah, true freshmen don't play at Georgia. True freshmen don't play much at Alabama.
Oh.
You've got to be a once-in-a-generation kind of player to play as a true freshman at these schools. And this guy made his mark early. I mean, look, it's unbelievable what they did. I think people discounted them simply because you feel like Alabama is going to be on another revenge tour.
Yeah.
Like they were in 2020 after they lost to LSU in 2019. Not so fast.
Also, by the way, here with Tennessee. No sacks on the night either.
Really?
They did all that with no sacks.
Georgia.
Nobody logged a sack. Nope. They had TFLs.
Good company.
No sacks, though. Which, again, when we spoke about the Titans earlier and, where we said as far as, what the Titans need to do with Harold being out, like, maybe you don't have to have sacks to be dominant like that. Like, the way Georgia pressured Oregon and just pushed them backwards and bully balled them. I'm sure you saw the clip of that defensive lineman just lifting that offensive lineman off the ground with a hit and getting a TFL, tackle for loss.
It's Jalen Carter.
Oh.
That guy's really good at football.
Yeah, there's a difference. Like, and is it fair though? Like, if there's a 1 or 2 loss SEC team against a at-large team that's undefeated, because of the way the SEC competes, is it fair to say the SEC will get the first stab at, like, if there's when we get to this 12-game system, SEC will get the first stab? You think because of the quality of wins and losses?
I would think so. I mean,
just-
it's going to depend on the non-conference wins. I think a little bit more for a lot of these teams, but yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way I'm kind of looking at it. Like, it's just different. Watching it this past weekend, of course, except for friggin' LSU. I got to say that because LSU guys are always over the top with it. But 3 points by Oregon, who flew across country to get this. They got 3 points in the second quarter. What a long flight back, Will.
It's not great. So why Florida to you? Why is the Florida win better than the Georgia win?
I didn't expect it.
Okay.
And it was against a highly ranked team, number 7, Utah. And, of course, they weren't close to making excuses for Utah this past weekend, but them just saying in general, how the humidity was kind of beating up on Utah and they were showing their players throwing up on the field and stuff like that. And of course, it's like this. The swamp is different. It really is. So anybody that hadn't gone there, that environment, they know how to get loud. They stay jacked up the entire time. When it's time to crank it, they crank it. Big plays, they get loud. For me, it was Florida simply because the fashion in which they won. And this is the thing, too, though. Utah let them off the hook more times than not in that game. But the quarterback play from Anthony Richardson, man, was beyond anything I thought we'd see from him. And it's almost to the point to where the same way I felt about Pitt, where you had to show your hand this entire game, Florida did. And Anthony Richardson is the hand. He can throw it and he can run it, man. Like, where was the defense on the line of scrimmage for him pulling the ball and running? Like, it was a few times I looked at Utah. I was like, do y'all even want to hit him? Like, he's going to pull the ball right here. Where was your defensive adjustments? And for Florida just to say, you know what, we're going to bang this thing out. The way they ended the game in an interception was beautiful. Their play wasn't great. Florida is a very beatable team. I'm sure they'll be ranked this week, considering they beat the number 17. But being the number 17, that played a factor into it, Will, as far as why I said Florida probably had the game of the weekend. And I think it's also the expectation that I didn't see them doing this. As far as like beating, I had Utah slated to win this game.
Yeah, I did too. Utah settles for 2 first-half field goals, one from 43 yards, another one from 31 yards. Their failure in the red zone ends up being the difference in this game. Gators scored touchdowns on all 3 trips inside the 20. Utah had the late turnover in the end zone, courtesy of the 50-year senior linebacker Amari Burney. For the Gators.
Yeah.
And then they also had, they were stuffed on consecutive downs at the goal line to open the third quarter.
Yep.
To me, this was as much about Utah just not finishing good drives and not capitalizing on the successes that it had in this game. And Florida was opportunistic.
Yeah.
And that's not taking anything away from Florida. That, to me, Ramon, was more about Utah losing that game. When you compare it to Georgia's just beat down of Oregon.
Yeah, I'm with you.
The Georgia game was more about Georgia is this good. Now, obviously, the burden of, the standard is different for a Georgia team that's the defending national champion. And Billy Napier coaching in his first game at Florida.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I'll give Florida credit. Billy Napier looked awfully comfortable.
Yeah,
in that spot, coaching a team in the SEC for the first time. In a hostile environment, at home, against a top 10 opponent. There are a lot of first-year head coaches that got to wait a long time to beat their first top 10 team.
Yep.
He did it in game number 1.
He did, and this is the thing, too. Utah did a lot of great things, man. They had 230 yards rushing against Florida. Now, I know a good bit of that came from their quarterback, also Cam Rising. He ended up having 91 yards rushing on Florida. But the running back, Tavion Thomas, did well except for the fumble into the end zone when he slipped going into the end zone also. And just times in which you're just like, dog, do what they brought you in here to do. Yep. You know, it was confusing that they had them on the hooks. And when you're playing at Florida like that, in that hostile environment, this is what happens when you let teams that are not supposed to beat you stay close, Will. They end up beating you. And again, Anthony Richardson, what was it, 3 touchdowns for him?
11 rushes for 106. All of them positive yards. Was never stopped for a loss. 17 of 24 for $168. No turnovers. Kyle Whittingham saying after the game, he is going to get an NFL payday, 6'4", 230, and runs a 4.3. He's terrific.
And was able to process the defense. He stayed in the pocket most of the times as long as he possibly could, and he ran when he saw he had to. So I'm side-eyeing this kid. It wouldn't shock me to see this kid at some point be mentioned in the Heisman race, whether this year, next year, or sometime soon. He has to be, Will, especially with their head coach and how he drew it up for him.
The thing that I thought immediately upon seeing Florida play like that and Anthony Richardson run for 106 yards, Ramon, is, oh, Lord, this is the kind of quarterback that just kills this Tennessee defense.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, look at what Ole Miss did last year.
Absolutely kills this Tennessee defense.
Kenny Pickett also last year, right? The escapability is something that has to be corrected starting this week is with Slovis. Is you can't allow, if you play on the defense for the Vols, you cannot allow that guy outside of the box. Like
he can't get 100 yards rushing on you.
The prep for Florida starts this week against Pitt, respectfully. And I say that very disrespectfully. I say it very disrespectfully.
And Akron in week 3, not exactly getting a ton of attention for the Zips.
Akron?
No,
absolutely not,
okay.
man.
I'm disrespectful.
Yeah, very disrespectful, Shafe. This is just where we are. But those are my impressive wins. I thought Notre Dame looked better than
they did look good.
Than I thought a lot of people gave them credit for. They held on as long as they possibly could until it just wasn't enough. Ohio State is a very good team too. They I ain't gonna say they struggle because Notre Dame's a good team. They just had a transition of head coaches. That's all that was. And also, did you see the shot that the former offensive lineman took at Brian Kelly too? Now he's a Florida State offensive lineman. He goes out and said, "This is a great team win, and we didn't have to change our accent to get it." Oh,
goodness sakes.
Talk about a burn. People don't forget.
It's interesting the confidence that Notre Dame has in a 36-year-old head coach in Marcus Freeman, who didn't even go there. And I'm not undermining this confidence. I actually also have a lot of confidence in Marcus Freeman. I think that guy is going to be a really good football coach.
Too.
But it's amazing how quickly Notre Dame fans just forgot about Brian Kelly.
That quick.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, you look at him on the sideline again. I'm looking at the LSU Florida State game, and I'm like, what does Brian Kelly do?
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because Brian Kelly's a toolbox.
Why? Like, what's tight, though?
He's Butch Jones with a national championship appearance.
No, I'm not going to go that far.
He talks like Butch Jones does. I mean, Butch Jones is a Brian Kelly coaching tree guy, is why I say that. I mean,
I understand that.
They speak in similar ways.
Brian won a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
than
he has.
Butch
No,
Jones
that's
did.
true. Brian paved the way for Butch Jones to win half the games that he did.
Why do you call him a toolbox?
Because he's a
Shay?
toolbox.
Like a non-sharp one, like full of knives? Like, which one is he? He's a rusted out one in the back of the barn?
That was my nice slander.
Okay.
Oh, good.
He's not a terribly pleasant person.
I can't see what LSU saw in him. After watching this game,
LSU,
Victories and panic.
They love the big flashy hire of it's just who LSU is. Like they feel like they deserve the big flashy shiny new hire.
that made no sense to me.
Yeah,
like I know what you.
It's just
I
not
wasn't talking about you. I'm talking about like.
No, I'm with you.
Oh, but here's the thing. If you look at win-loss record, totally understand that.
Okay.
I totally understand if you look at just win-loss record. Culture, you could not be more opposite than those two.
It's bad, man. And I was really interested to see how they opened the season.
Yeah.
And how he had either implemented his culture or how he had adopted the culture of LSU and of SEC football.
Yeah.
It's hard to really read into one game, but the optics don't look good after one game.
To be fair, You could have said the same thing about Nick Saban coming in and then winning at LSU.
He was slow to start.
Not just that, West Virginia guy, Northeast guy, Michigan State is where he coached.
He'd already won a national championship as an SEC head coach, though, is the difference with him. He already had a championship at LSU at that point. So you knew he could win in that conference because he'd done it before. The thing with Brian Kelly, and you could have the best culture in football. If you don't have an offensive line, doesn't matter. And he doesn't have an offensive line.
Well, see, the issue also is watching his players quit on him during the game. I hate to say quit.
Man,
but
Kayshon Boutte, it didn't look good.
That's what I'm saying.
It did not look good.
This kid was visibly out of the game.
This is a first-team All-American wide receiver that you've got.
And you lost him. And more than it was, of course, their offensive line didn't protect well. But you still got to find ways for this guy to get the ball. You still got to find ways for this guy to be involved in the offense in some type of way. 2 receptions for 20 yards, man, on the game. And it just – he went to the sideline a few times. It was just really – as a guy that has the big check like Brian Kelly does, this type of stuff can't happen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to – what are they doing right now on this Tuesday? They're probably somewhere talking about it. He's erased his social media.
Already has.
That's an outside of football scenario that's not good for amateur sports with the way that the transfer portal is also.
Can we do a quick aside with that?
Go ahead.
Please do.
Scrubbing the social media is still the weakest flex possible.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, it is.
It's so dumb.
The funny thing is, too, that like half the time that happens, it's just because like a guy broke up with his girlfriend.
By the way, Kyler,
I
remember when
promise you.
Kyler scrubbed his and then still got paid?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like half the time a guy deletes all of his pictures, it's because he's like scrubbing all the pictures of him and like a girl that he no longer dates.
Yeah.
These things happen. They're just kids. No, they're really not. 615-737-1045. Who did not have the most impressive win over the weekend? A couple of wins of the SEC that are going to go down as W's, but were not overly impressive. Ole Miss, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I'm looking at you. Let's dive into that next. It's Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
Suck it.
104.5 The Zone's high school football game of the week returns this Friday with Will Bowling and Lucas Panzica. Tune in to hear a great matchup. Oakland at Ravenwood, starting at 6:45. Our broadcast only on 104.5 The Zone.
That's right, Jonathan Schaefer, the only place to hear the biggest high school football game in Tennessee live on the radio airwaves this weekend. Oakland and Ravenwood going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun from Ravenwood High School. The Raptors and the Patriots.
Hey, now.
Going to be a good time. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster with you. Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons. Diving into some wins that weren't as impressive around the SEC. And starting in Lexington, where Firebird, former Pearl Cone wide receiver Barryon Brown, gets a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Also, SEC Special Team of the Week, too.
We're going to talk to Ron Slay about this later because that's his guy. That's his school.
Yeah, that's his school,
Proud
man.
Firebird. Barryon Brown's going to be a household name for Kentucky.
Yes.
I think Tennessee fans are going to be sad that one got away. Guy that I saw run a couple of 100-meter state championships for Pearl Cone.
Just cold-blooded, huh?
Really, really good.
Goodness.
10.4, 10.5 speed over 100 meters. So a good performance for them. Not as great for his team, though.
Yeah.
37-13, Kentucky gets the win. Will Levis, 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick.
Well, and this was what? The first half score was 10-13. Kentucky was up. Mm-hmm. And, of course, what happens when you play against lesser opponents, man? Talent runs out. And
yeah, right.
Kentucky beat them simply because the talent ran out. That's me being petty because I know we got Kentucky fans listening.
Always.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
Yeah, shout out to Wes, man. Wes, great friend of mine, Woodyard. Hey, barely won that one this past weekend, huh, Kentucky?
The total yards telling. Kentucky didn't have Chris Rodriguez, their leading rusher, unavailable along with linebacker Jordan Wright, who Mark Stoops says are suspended, but I don't want to use the word suspended. So I'd take that for what you will, I guess. Use whatever word you want.
Okay, Mark.
I left my thesaurus at home, so I'm going to have to just go with suspended.
Bobby, you're either suspended or you're not.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, right.
Kentucky outgains Miami of Ohio 353 to 290. Defense and special teams ended up making the difference in that one. It was fine. 24-point win.
Oh, yeah, it is what it is, man.
You know.
Yeah.
Elsewhere in the SEC, Vanderbilt gets the win over Elon, 42-31. I thought the new turf, I thought the new jerseys looked great.
Yeah, y'all really bless your heart.
Oh,
in that
I'm serious.
One, man.
I'm serious.
I don't agree with you on that.
You don't?
The jerseys and the turf look good.
Yeah, it looks good.
My God.
What's wrong with that?
Y'all, let me say something like
I'm not
that.
Finished. No, I'm going to let you finish, but not right now. You can say that those two things look very good, in which they do in a vacuum, without having to talk about all the other things around it.
Yeah, that's right.
They look good.
I hate y'all right now,
Because you have
man.
to understand, when it comes to all these schools, I hate everybody. I don't care.
I know you don't.
Okay?
I know you don't.
Because when I first moved to town, I became a Vandy fan, and then I found God and realized that was a mistake.
Hallelujah.
All right?
Hallelujah.
Put some of that collection plate.
The good news is here for you, Jonathan
It's a
Schaefer.
joke.
That's a joke. But I will say
I
this,
liked
though.
the jerseys, and I thought the field looked really good. Now, when you looked up into the stands, that's a different deal.
They
Nashville
show
SC
it.
had the best crowd on Saturday night in Nashville. That's not that, and that also
Half
is
of them weren't there because of
that's not a lie.
storms.
That's right.
I will say this, though. Mike Wright, he can be nice for Van.
He's playing really, really well.
What is this, 6 touchdowns?
6
this
touchdowns
past
against
weekend?
Elon. 245 yards through the year, 84 more on the ground. Vanderbilt needs him to continue to be a ground threat too, because they don't have the skill level when you talk about the 4 and 5 stars everyone else has in the SEC, obviously.
Yeah.
They've got to have all 11 guys contributing in the run game. They can't be at a numbers deficit and be 11 versus 10.
Cannot. They can't afford it, man. They got to build around him, whether that be his offensive line, getting more skilled guys that honestly they have to be in a position where they develop good, because you don't want this talent going to waste, man. The kid can play. And Vanderbilt, get behind the guy, like legitimately, like
I'm with you.
get behind him, man.
On the other side of things, though, Vanderbilt's pass defense gives up quite a performance to Matthew McKay. the 6'4" senior quarterback for the Elon Phoenix. If you had that on your bingo card today of what the nickname of Elon was, now you know. 19 of 32, 333 yards, a pair of touchdowns against the Vanderbilt defense. Elon coming back, they outscore Vanderbilt 21-14 in the second half of that game. That was already out of reach, to be fair. It was never really in doubt. But still, Vanderbilt's 2-0.
They are 2-0,
Good start
man.
for
Number
Mike
one
Wright.
in the SEC.
That's right. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. We go to Eric in Nashville. Good morning, Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Hey, welcome, Will. I don't think I've given you the proper welcome since
Thank you, sir.
you've been here now. Just welcome, and it's always good to talk to you, Ramon. But I got to tell you something, guys, you'll get a big kick out of. You were talking about Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I normally don't watch the Paul Feinbaum show. I was flipping through yesterday. But one of the things that was interesting, of course, they were showing tweets and stuff and people's Twitter handles and stuff. So I don't remember the Twitter handle, but I thought this was hilarious. There was actually a Vanderbilt fan that tweeted in and said Vanderbilt should crack the top 25.
Oh, God.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
No.
I saw that. I just busted out laughing when I saw that. And I said, maybe if they do Wake Forest and continue on this run, they should. But when I saw that, I just cracked up. It just, because you have so many people saying all sorts of tweets about their football team, but I saw that, I just died laughing. But I figured, since y'all was talking about Vanderbilt, I'd share that with y'all. Guys, y'all take care and have a great day.
Thank you,
Hey,
Eric.
man.
Now, look, I've seen them crack the top 25 along fraternity row over there.
Hey.
all right? Seen that happen.
I remember that game when they had college game day against Auburn.
They
And
did?
they were 4-0.
I remember that very
They were
well.
4-0, and all the game day signs were, we've got a 4.0 and we're 4-0. It's like, oh,
And they
God.
beat Auburn to go 5.
And they did.
They
They were
did?
5-0.
Yep.
Now, the second half of that season, not as memorable for
Not so
Vanderbilt.
much. Didn't go well.
But,
Not great, Bob.
hey, I'll tell you what, though. Saturday night against Wake Forest here, that stadium should be a lot more full than it was against Elon.
Like how much
and
more?
it will be.
Like how much more, Will?
Whose fans will they
Give me a
be?
number.
Because it's the same color.
Hey, a lot of
Yeah.
black and gold.
It's the
in
same
there.
color.
The Fighting Clausens.
As much. Oh,
I'm rooting.
Are you going to go for Vandy?
I'm rooting for Vandy this
You're
week.
going to go where
we
you're.
gotta have you wear like
100%.
some kind of Vandy.
You're gonna go show your gold?
I wish like hell I would.
You want to get Dave Clawson on the show this week?
Nah, I'm
Just
good.
returning.
I'll pass. I'm sure Bab's gonna try to. I'll pass. I was told to move on from that, so I'm gonna listen to a wise
And
person.
who told you to move on from that?
The big man.
Coach Wolmer told you to
Coleman
move on.
told
did he
me
really?
that, for sure. He was.
Like,
we
was
had-
that recently?
Oh, it was at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame golf outing.
Oh, really?
We had to sit down.
Was that recent?
No, yeah.
Wow.
We had to sit down
Has
about
Coach
it.
Fulmer moved on from that? 615-737-1045.
Yeah, I think he has.
Okay,
If he's
okay,
asking
okay.
me, yeah. We had a long conversation around it. I got no malice against the dude. It's just that don't use my senior year to experiment with your damn offense.
Yes, you do, because he cost you money.
Hey,
Let's be
winning and
real.
losing
Hey,
matters in it.
Let's be real. Cost you money. Cost you money.
He wouldn't
Respect.
admit it. Yeah, I got it back on the back end.
Halftime of the show. We're gonna give Ramon Foster time tonight. Wait, Ramon's having a morning. We've talked about the claw fence before 8 a.m. Ramon goes to his gym at 4:05 this morning. It's not open. It's Labor Day and a half.
Kicks down my leg. Like, golly, get back to work. It's fog outside now. A lot of stuff going on, man. I got people in Pittsburgh trash talking to me about the Panthers this weekend.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, they're coming for me.
They're
Good,
Hey.
good. Hey,
Good.
good.
Yeah.
Let 'em.
Hey.
Hey, give him our number. 615-737-1045. Coming up next, halftime of the show. Let's reset some of the NFL headlines. A new captain in Pittsburgh. A couple of interesting storylines heading into week 1 of NFL football in 2 more days. We made it. Halftime of the show coming up next. Third quarter starts now on 104.5 The Zone.
Are you tired of working for someone who doesn't see your potential or providing you with the opportunity to grow in your industry? It's Ramon Foster, and I know a company that can offer you the opportunity you are looking for. And they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is a small, locally owned company that is looking to get bigger, and you can be a part of that expansion. Become one of their service experts and receive medical, dental, and vision benefits, matching 401k, 2 weeks of vacation after the first year. You get holiday pay, company and factory training, plus top pay within industry standards. You could become Spring Hill Heating and Cooling's next all-star. Apply now at springhillac.com.
8:01, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Speaking of the Titans, they released their first unofficial depth chart of the 2022 season. Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine listed as the team's starting receivers, followed by Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. Nicholas Petit-Frere, NPF, starting right tackle, recently acquired Dennis Daly, the backup at left and right tackle, according to that chart. Dylan Radin's listed as the backup at right guard behind Nate Davis. Danico Autry listed as the starting outside linebacker opposite Bud Dupree. That's the immediate response to Harold Landry being out with a torn ACL. Here's Coach Rabel on Landry's injury.
It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. Feel terrible, obviously, for Harold and the work that he's put in and his value to our football team. But we have to move on and get everybody ready to go win.
Giants at Titans kickoff 3:25 Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Lee Company countdown to kickoff will start at noon. Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis, as always, with the call, courtesy of Titans Radio. College football last night, boring game. Clemson 41, Georgia Tech 10. Braves at the Oakland A's tonight, 8:40 the first pitch. Atlanta just one game behind the Mets for first place in the NL East. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your own for the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5. The Zone.
Hour number 3 of the Tuesday edition. It is Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Full squad here on this beautiful morning in the Music City. Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in the world, making the show happen.
Hey, yes.
That voice coming up at 9:20. Ronald Sylvester Slay. Ramon Foster is here in the building. I'm Will Bowling. David Ubben of The Athletic coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll hit the college football headlines with him and go around the SEC. And we'll ask him the question, Ramon, of who he thought had the most impressive win in college football in week 1. Some NFL headlines, though, before we get back into the college football discussion. Green Bay Packers left tackle David Bakhtiari on track to start the season opener for Green Bay against the Minnesota Vikings.
That's been over 2 years, hasn't it?
It has been a while.
Golly.
Played only part of one game since he suffered a knee injury more than 20 months ago.
Yeah.
On Monday, it was in 11-on-11s. After Monday's practice, told reporters he believes it is realistic to expect him to start against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Missed all of this year's offseason practices, was not activated off the PUP list until late in training camp. Last season had a brief return, then had complications and was shut down for the playoffs. He had his third knee surgery this offseason since the initial tear of his left ACL on New Year's Eve 2020.
Golly, that's
a lot of knee issues.
That's a lot of, but it's like that sometimes with bigger athletes, man. It takes a little bit more time, and I'm glad to see that they gave him the proper amount of rehab, Will, because that's sports pressure, man. Like the psychological side of like, man, I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm gonna push through. It could really hurt guys' careers by doing stuff like that. And Bakhtiari is a guy in which they need. I know Aaron Rodgers appreciated him being out there. And not just that, though, Will. The guy is good. Mm-hmm. He's real good.
Yeah.
And for young guys that watch offensive line, the people that start to pay more attention to it, watch Bakhtiari. Trent Williams is in that conversation, too.
Yeah, absolutely right. 615-737-1045 here as we hit the NFL headlines this morning. Robert Saleh saying that Zach Wilson might be able to start this week for the New York Football Jets.
Yeah, but what about his mom's friend?
Oh, no. Oh, no. He got that dog in him, though, Zach Wilson.
Boy got a savage.
He's got that dog in him. Robert Saleh saying it's possible that he could start Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, although the realistic outcome is that he will get at least another week to heal.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, the backup in New York.
Against Baltimore.
Against the Ravens. That's right. There's a lot of revenge, interesting matchups in week 1 because you've got Russ playing Seattle.
Yep.
You've got Baker playing Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got Joe Flacco and the elite New York Jets offense.
Yeah.
I say elite with the utmost, joking.
I'm disrespectful.
Going against the Baltimore
And,
Ravens.
of course, you got Rams, Bills.
That's right.
what people would have thought would have been the Super Bowl game.
The Von Miller Bowl.
The Von Miller Bowl.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
Potentially Odell if the Bills can get him at some point.
Goodness. Could you imagine?
I know. Well, you got a Dory and Titans this weekend, too.
That's right.
Yeah, a lot of revenge games.
That's
man.
right. Zach Wilson was expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks. Sources told ESPN at the time of the injury. Tuesday marks 3 weeks. But the Jets have emphasized that Wilson will not play until he is 100%. I think Joe Flacco's kind of been okay in preseason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you really need to rush Zach Wilson back.
Well, Joe Flacco always finds a way to throw the ball to the other team, too.
Well, that's true.
Like, he's got a beautiful deep ball, which is kind of in itself. But, as of late, Joe is just a guy. And I'd rather see Zach Wilson simply because I thought he looked good until he made that pivot and got that that bone bruise on his knee. I'm telling you, that's a terrible injury, man, because all it takes, Will, is time. Nothing else can speed it up.
Right. New target CJ Uzoma in New York. Corey Davis, the wide receiver, 1 for the Jets.
Yeah.
So that's a story to follow this week. And then in Pittsburgh, where Mitch Trubisky is a starting quarterback again in the NFL, wins the job over Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, named a captain as well by Mike Tomlin, signed a 2-year, $14.2 million contract in free agency. Not a surprise.
That's bridge quarterback money right there.
Right.
What was more surprising, they had Mason Rudolph as number 2 on that list. He's a backup quarterback. I got a feeling they're going to really try to protect Kenny Pickett, but it's going to be interesting to see if they actually listen to themselves, meaning the front office and the coaches, or do they listen to the fans? Simply because the fan base wants Kenny Pickett.
All right. Do you think Mike T is going to listen to the fans?
Hell no.
We do not care.
I think if there's one coach that could
I
not
had to
care
play
less
it up.
what the noise sounds like, it's that guy.
Home.
I think it's 3 coaches we can kind of say that about, right?
Well, and the other one, we're
It
getting
is
ready for
that
Cincinnati.
one, and then the other one is here in Nashville.
It is right here.
Yeah. Those are the 3 coaches of the list of I don't care. It has to be Mike Tomlin, Belichick, and Vrabel.
That's right.
That's a good place to be at, though, because
Absolutely
that
is.
crowd can get loud.
So interested to see how that kind of works out in Pittsburgh. Over under of when Kenny Pickett gets a start?
Week 9-ish.
Week 9. Okay. It's a little later than I would have expected.
Simply because they're going to let it play out. It'll get to a point where they kind of let them grow. And then if depending on where they are in week 9, whether they're, 500.
It depends upon if that offensive line lets Trubisky get killed.
Well, yeah, that part too.
So who makes a start first, Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett this year?
Kenny.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenny. I think Mason's 2 just simply because that's the way they looked at it. But I go week 9 because if we're going over and under, I say by that time Kenny should be ready to go.
Okay.
And at that point, you move forward with the future guy.
Titans depth chart out this weekend as well, and you mentioned that and kind of giving the nod to the guy that has been in the system longer, even though everyone knows that he's not really the backup. Titans do business in a similar way. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and Robert Woods listed as the team's starting wide receivers, with Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips listed as backups at each spot. I don't think anybody really believes that Kyle Phillips is a backup at this point.
No.
For the Tennessee Titans.
It's just who you start the game with. They're going to start the game with a tight end for sure, and that to me makes the most sense in general.
Yeah, and you had to list them somewhere because it's not a depth chart that's going to have 3 receivers to start.
12 personnel.
Right. You can't say or when it comes down to it.
Right.
Jeff Swain listed at number 1 now too.
Just like he was last year.
Yeah.
Jeff Swain, Austin Hooper with Chigga behind them.
Mm-hmm.
On defense, we mentioned the interesting aspect of the Titans' defensive depth chart. Denico Autry listed as the outside linebacker opposite of Bud Dupree. DeMarcus Walker, the starting defensive end, in a defensive line that also includes Jeffrey Simmons and Tier Tart. I just really like that unit right now.
Yeah, I bet you do.
It's a good spot.
But you got some big bodies.
Phrasing.
You got some big bodies on the defensive line, man. It's going to be a trench warfare when it comes down to getting yards on the Titans as far as on the ground. And what better test do you have than what he call himself, a hungry running back, as Saquon has said. I'm not sure what the offensive line is going to look like, but Saquon is coming off this injury, trying to prove that he's back and he's the guy that you thought he was coming out. And now I'll be honest with you, too. They'll be highly motivated for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Danny Dimes has to go prove himself. They got a new head coach, man, that you think can call it, and Dable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this – I'm not giving them a whole lot of credit, but I'll say this. The same way I feel about Jacksonville, they'll be better than they were last year. And
I'm with you.
What does that mean is you can't take your foot off the gas with them.
Got to win this first game.
Yeah, you got to win this first game as the Titans. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
A couple other things from the Tennessee Titans depth chart. Dennis Daly listed as the starting left, or as not starting left, the backup left and right tackle. Aaron Brewer at left guard as expected, with Jamarco Jones behind him, putting Dylan Radins as the backup at right guard behind Nate Davis. Ramon Foster, your thoughts?
Not even a swing guy?
Not even a swing guy at this point.
Who's going to be the game day swing interior guy then?
Jamarco Jones. That's what it looks like.
That's asking.
Dylan Radins, you're starting over again with Dylan Radins at guard. And not totally starting over. He played that position in practice a lot last year. He's had work there.
Right.
But in terms of the context of this season, you're kind of building him back up again. You're building the confidence. You're building the technique. You've got to start over in a lot of ways as an interior lineman.
Yeah.
So, again, it makes sense that Titans are consistent with this. They give the nod to the veteran guy when it comes to their unofficial, official depth charts.
I'm not out on Dylan Radins. It's just a matter of where do you start to play at? Because right now, Nate's in a contract year.
It's kind of one thing after another for him right
It
now.
is. Like this,
Which is a little unfair to him, but it's perception's reality right now,
well,
unfortunately.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hey, nobody cares, man.
Right.
Nobody cares about the labor pains. Just deliver the baby.
That is right. Coming up next, we talk with David Ubben of The Athletic, who had the most impressive win of the college football opening weekend. How really good is Florida? Or was Utah having a bad day? Or is Utah just maybe not as good as we perhaps thought that they were? We'll get into that. We'll cover much, much more with David Ubben coming up next. It's Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. It's Ramon and Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 104.5 The Zone. Fall for Life, Ramon Foster, Will Bowling here with you. Jonathan Schaefer making the show happen as we talk some college football on a Tuesday morning. And joining us on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline to do just that is David Ubben of The Athletic. Good morning, David. How are you?
Morning.
I'm doing good. By the way, Ramon, I remember we talked a few months ago, I guess, before I went on paternity leave. You did not believe that I once had cornrows, but my dad recently gave me some DVDs of some old basketball games.
Oh.
I'm going to have to bring the cornrows back, man. I'm going to have to bring them back.
I gotta see
love
it. No lie. Every time I see you, I try to picture it, and I'm like, no, it can't be the fake stitched on like braids. Like they had to have been good for you to rock them. So please bring that out.
The problem now is I think back then I had to grow my hair out like 9 months to make it work. It might take me 5 years right now with the current hairline situation. Man, father time comes for us all.
You know what? But technology has evolved, Dave. Do you hear me, man? I just want you to know I'm there in support of you if you ever need it.
I love it.
Sounds good.
I love it. David Ubben of The Athletic with us here this morning. David, who impressed you the most of any team that got a win over the weekend? Georgia, Florida, Ohio State. Out of those three or anybody else, who sent the loudest statement to college football on Saturday?
I'd probably point to Florida and Georgia. For Georgia, sort of the same, the second verse, same as the first, but I thought they'd roll in that game. I didn't think it'd be that resounding. And maybe Oregon is not as good as we thought. We'll see. That stuff kind of comes out in the wash over the next couple months. But that was an evisceration. I thought they'd win that game by, 20, maybe 30 points. I mean, that was not a competitive contest. But Florida, obviously, that's a paradigm-shifting win, I think. I was one of those folks coming in to this season that really thought Florida was going to be pretty average, a 6 or 7 win team. Boy, they look a lot more like a 9 or 10 win team from what I saw, because I coming in, I really thought Florida was going to be a team that maybe would go as far as Anthony Richardson would take them, and how good or bad he was going to really depend on was going to really decide their fate. But what I came out of that game really thinking is Florida's a lot better on the lines than I thought they were going to, because Utah's a really tough test on both sides of the ball, and they passed it with flying colors. They went toe-to-toe with a really tough team.
Yeah, and I'm with you in the same thing. I thought Florida was going to be very mediocre. So I ain't going to say very mediocre. I just didn't know what Florida was going to be. With that being said, Utah fumbled the ball at the goal line, slipped running in one time. And so was it more Florida? Was it more of Utah didn't have it together?
Well, there's always mistakes and always bounces, but I got to tell you, I thought Utah was going to roll in that game. I thought Utah was going to walk into the swamp and walk out, winning by, double digits, 10, 15, 20 points. And that was not the case. I mean, Florida went toe-to-toe with them. So I thought, whether or not Florida was going to win that game, and some of those bounces are certainly going to decide, who actually walks out as a victor. I was impressed with Florida either way, but for me, that win is more just about mathematics, that now the idea that they could win, 9 games, maybe flirt with 10 games is really realistic. But ultimately, that's a really good team. And I thought Tennessee got a really good shot to smack them when they came into Neyland. And now that looks like that's going to be a dogfight.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely does, David. And the thing that I thought first in watching Anthony Richardson run for triple digits and run for 3 touchdowns is, this is exactly the kind of Florida quarterback that makes Tennessee fans pull their hair out literally every single year. And last year, not even Florida quarterback. Like, that's just the kind of quarterback that beats Tennessee and beats Josh Heupel.
I mean, I think he's going to make a lot of folks pull their hair out. I just think that it looks so effortless for him. Mm-hmm. And I think the amount of plays that he made in that game that just left you with your jaw on the ground. I mean, the kid looks like a superstar. I mean, again, that 2-point conversion looks like a video game glitch. I've never seen a guy pump fake a guy that dove at him. The guy gets, 2 hands on him, kinda, and he just kind of shrugs him off, keeps his eyes downfield, and finds a wide open receiver in the back of the end zone for a huge 2-point conversion. The kid just looked really, really, really special, and I think he's just the kind of playmaker that, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah. With that being said, reflecting back on the Tennessee game before they go into this pit, what did you assess from them this past week as they went up against Ball State?
I mean, I think people don't realize that Ball State is pretty good. I think Hendon Hooker probably not his sharpest performance, although Josh Heupel didn't really seem to have any issues after the game with what Hendon did. But Ball State, this is a team that has gone to bowl games in the last 2 years, or 13-7 over the last 2 seasons. And Tennessee just absolutely ran them off the field. I thought obviously Tennessee was going to win that game comfortably, but not to the point where it wasn't even competitive. I mean, that was insane, and I think a really impressive showing for Tennessee because, again, Ball State is a pretty good team. That's probably a bowl team. And Tennessee, listen, you don't hang your hat on beating Ball State, but if you're a really good team, you beat the heck out of average to decent teams. And if you're doing that, I mean, that's the kind of thing that shows you, if you're really good, that's the kind of things that really good teams do.
Yeah.
Tennessee obviously has a chance this weekend to prove that, but there's going to be a lot of opportunity for them on the field. But I mean, I don't know how you can watch anything you saw from Tennessee on Saturday or on Thursday, I guess, and be concerned. That was really impressive and a pretty complete game from them.
David Ubben of The Athletic with us. It's interesting, David, when you evaluate Pittsburgh, you could go one way and say, oh, they're tired coming off an exhausting rivalry game and the hangover of the way they beat West Virginia. The way I see it is that Pitt team is already kind of battle-tested. Going into week 2, they have an extra couple of days to rest after a Thursday game, so I'm not as worried about them being fatigued from the Pittsburgh perspective. How do you view the potential hangover, but also just the experience of already having a big test as they go into Tennessee this weekend?
I mean, ultimately, I think we'll find out. I think 2 things. One, I do wonder, because that game is so emotional and it was really physical, I do wonder if there's a little bit of a hangover there, even with the extra rest. But also, I really don't think West Virginia is very good. I think Tennessee has a chance to really flex in this Pitt game. I think Pitt is a little bit overrated. I think a lot of folks see, well, they have the USC transfer at quarterback, and they won the ACC last year, so we got to put them in the top 20 preseason. I mean, Pitt's not one of the 20 best teams in the country right now. I really don't think so. So, we'll see. I think Tennessee wins this game. I think they win it rather convincingly. But time will tell. I don't know that the rest is going to be that much of a factor, but I do wonder, how good is this Pitt team really, for one, and two, what is it like to try and come back after a game that was as emotional and mentally and physically taxing as the brawl is? I mean, that game has always been that way, and after an 11-year absence, I mean, you saw they were pretty fired up about winning that ball game for good reason, and I wonder if you get up in the same way. And I don't think people are forgetting, too, from Tennessee's perspective, they've been circling this one. This is a team that I'm sure feels like they should have beat this team at home last year to let that one get away, and they'll have an opportunity to make up for that. I think that does mean a lot to the guys in the locker room.
No doubt about it. David, with this past weekend in the books now, 13-1 as far as the SEC record goes, man. And that one came down to the wire on the block field goal. Where are we at on Brian Kelly and LSU at this point?
I mean, I just don't think they have the offense to really be great.
Okay.
I mean, I think I came into the season thinking they were going to be pretty average. I don't think their depth is there. That top, 15 guys that they've got, 10, 15, 20 guys is really competitive. But you need more than that in the SEC. And then, of course, now when you're talking about Mason Smith being gone for the season, a guy that, certainly could have been one of the best players in the SEC. And who knows what's going on with Keyshawn Boutte, who's – I mean, that was a weird situation on Saturday night, or Sunday night, I should say, rather. A weird situation where you have this sort of all-world player that is a non-factor, sort of visibly frustrated. Can you figure that out the rest of the season, or is this going to be a year-long thing where, you never know what you're going to get from him? It could be a long year one. I'm buying big picture on Brian Kelly. I think he's going to have a lot of success at LSU. He's recruiting really well. I think this team will be okay, but in year one, I think this could be a bit of a tough transition for him.
LSU, how do you evaluate them at the quarterback position? Because Jaden Daniels, it seems like, just kind of has to be the guy by nature of the inexperience of that offensive line. I mean, I'm having flashbacks to Joshua Dobbs just having to be the guy at Tennessee when nobody could block in kind of the early Butch Jones years. Does he have security just because of what LSU does, or really what they don't have up front?
I didn't really know what to make of Jaden Daniels because I remember seeing him as a freshman and thinking, oh, this kid could really be special. And then he was not that great over the last couple of seasons, but also Arizona State got worse. He had not a great supporting cast there. So when he switches, he moves over to LSU, you're wondering, okay, well, this is a bit of a better situation. Obviously going up against tougher defenses, tougher competition, but he's got a better supporting cast. We'll see what he has to offer. And until those last couple drives there, he did not look very good. And maybe that's just adjustment. Maybe that's, he just didn't play very well. I don't know. But he didn't really do much to impress me until the end there. That was a pretty impressive final drive. Seemed like he was in really command of the situation and his offense. But we'll see. I think he was kind of a wild card coming in that maybe he can, recapture some of that magic when he was a freshman. But I didn't see a ton of that on Sunday, so we'll see.
When it comes to other teams in the SEC, and I don't say this disrespectfully, but what I'm asking is Texas A&M. They blanked Sam Houston, but they also let him stay around a little bit too long. Is quarterback going to always be an issue of Jimbo when it comes down to what his success is going to be at whatever college?
Well, we've still been waiting to see what Haynes King is.
Yeah.
We just haven't really had a chance to really see him. He threw a couple picks in that game, didn't look fantastic. But I liked what I saw, the flashes out of him, last year. But we saw him, I can't remember, I think they played another FCS opponent. And then he got hurt in the first quarter against Colorado and just never came back. So we don't really know what he is. I think he could be really good. I think he fits what Jimbo wants to do. I think he can really move around and gives them that quarterback run game. But I just not enough information on Haynes King. We just haven't seen him enough because he hasn't been healthy, and then we haven't really seen him in a big-time spot. I'm really intrigued to see what happens when he's there because I liked him to win the job last year. I thought he had huge potential, and then he gets hurt. I liked him to win the job this year. I didn't really think Max Johnson was going to do much for them. Hunter Wigman, just too young. I didn't know if he could come in as a true freshman and beat anybody out, and Haynes King wins that job. Again, didn't look great on Saturday, but I didn't see a ton of that game, but I'm guessing they kept it pretty vanilla. I think they knew what they had, and then you have the lightning delay, which makes things super weird. Kind of messes with the energy in the building where Kyle Field was pretty cleared out. So I just don't know. I think Haynes King has a ton of potential, but we just have seen so little of him that we don't really know.
David Ubben of The Athletic with us here on Ramon and Will. 100 yards for Zach Evans of Ole Miss before halftime, David, but not a convincing win for Ole Miss over Troy. Did that surprise you how flat they looked in week one?
A little bit, but what I think when you're putting so many pieces together, like Ole Miss seems to be right now, they're basically rebuilding their entire offense. You have a new defensive coordinator, a lot of new pieces that I think Ole Miss is going to be one of those teams that's going to be a work in progress all season. And I think they're a team that you probably would much rather play them the first 6 weeks of the season than the last 6 weeks, and we'll see. Not a super really convincing performance. They were, it's interesting. You mentioned the SEC went 13-1 against FBS teams. They went 10-2 against the spread. LSU and Ole Miss are the only teams that did not cover. So if folks were blindly betting the SEC this weekend, they made a lot of money.
David, Clemson last night, speaking of not so convincing wins, it looks convincing on the scoreboard at the end of the day, but not the performance that Clemson wanted, I would say, out of DJ Uiagalelei with a lot of pressure on him this season. Is it only a matter of time until Cade Klubnik takes over? I can't imagine what South Carolina and North Carolina sports talk shows are sounding like today after that last drive.
I mean, I felt like it's been a question of when, not if, all off season. Mm-hmm. And the problem that you're running into now is obviously Dabo is fiercely loyal. You remember the Kelly Bryant situation a few years back where he just was really, really hesitant to pull the trigger with Trevor Lawrence, and then finally did, and guess what? That worked out pretty well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know how much more people need to see from DJ to say, this is not working. This is not working. I'm just surprised we didn't see him get a series, get some time early on, because I was talking to some friends last night. Listen, when Clemson is doing what they're doing, they're basically like a fancy Iowa. Like, they're a much better defensive team. But like when their defense is playing the way that they are, I guess, especially against a team that's really a little overmatched, like Georgia Tech was, where they're just getting swallowed up. I mean, their defense is gonna have to set things up for the offense. We saw that last night with the special teams play, because they're gonna have short fields. This is not an offense that's gonna routinely be able to go, 70, 80 yards to go score. So I feel like it's a question of when, not if, with Klubnik. Even when he got in late, you saw a couple throws. You're saying, we'll see. But I think it's going to take a loss or a really ugly game from DJ Uiagalelei before they make a change. And but if I'm there, I'm beating down the door for Klubnik as well.
David, you guys had a piece in The Athletic that was great about college football playoff expansion and the fact that 66 teams would have made a playoff appearance since 1998. Under the current format that we're about to see, I guess not current, of the 12-team playoff. Was Georgia-Oregon a preview of what the new playoff is going to look like, or do you see more value in this model long-term than the 4-team model?
I mean, I guess I understand the criticisms of that whole thing, but I think anybody who is saying, we need to expand the playoff to change the ultimate result, I think is just a misguided way to look at this whole thing. The whole concept is to, one, get more teams involved, and without ruining the regular season, which we'll see kind of what effects there are or aren't on the regular season. Because I feel like the 4-team playoff has enhanced the regular season personally. There's just a lot more relevant games. But is there a point where you hit that law of diminishing returns where there's too many teams where it feels like games at the top are getting kind of pointless? I haven't really felt that way so far, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, the idea is just getting more teams involved, enhancing the postseason, and certainly, making teams earn that title. But I don't think the point is, now anybody who thinks, now that the playoffs is expanding, it's not going to be, Georgia and Alabama, and Ohio State in the championship every single year. It's probably still going to be that, but ultimately the postseason can be more entertaining. You can see some matchups. And it's not all about, Alabama's going to demolish somebody. Those middle games, when you get out of that range, are still going to be really fun when you have teams that, can still play for it. And, is hope false? We'll see. But I think hope's a powerful thing, whether it's real or not. And I think the playoff gives a lot of programs that slice of hope that might not have it in a 4-team playoff.
Good stuff. As always, David Ubben has been our guest here on Ramon and Will on Twitter at David Ubben of The Athletic. David, appreciate the time as always, man. Good to catch up.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, there he is, David Ubben of The Athletic on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline with us. Coming up, I mentioned the article of that The Athletic had. It's 66 teams would have had a playoff appearance since 1998 under a 12-team playoff format. I'm going to tell you who had the most and how many Tennessee teams would have made the college football playoff. I'm going to have Ramon Foster guess if any of his teams would have made it. We'll do that coming up next. Ramona Will, powered by all 4 seasons on 104.5 The Zone.
It doesn't matter what it is in life. Any service that you pay for, any service that you ask for, you want the best experience possible. Well, let me ask you this. Are you currently working with a lender that isn't giving you the service that you'd like? Maybe it's a lack of transparency. Maybe there's a lack of communication. Those can be so frustrating. Slow service can even make you miss your closing date and potentially lose your dream home. Hey, it's Jonathan Schaefer with Mortgage Investors Group. If that's what you're experiencing, you aren't stuck. It's time to reach out for a second opinion. Get that second opinion from Mortgage Investors Group. They are the Southeast's leading mortgage lender. They obviously know what they're doing, and they do it with care with their mortgage experts. And they won't get you just any loan, but the right home loan, the one that works for you. And they're committed to helping you close on time, structure your loan the best way, and help you make your home buying goals a reality. Get the service you deserve. Mortgage Investors Group. Go to migonline.com to find the office nearest you or text MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan. Equal housing lender. License number 109111. Join 104.5 The Zone for the 14th annual Battle of the Badges Blood Drive as the Metro Nashville Police Department, Nashville Davidson County Sheriff's Office, Nashville Fire Department all team up with the American Red Cross to help save lives at the Ascension St. Thomas Music City Battle of the Badges, presented by the Tennessee Titans. That's coming up tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. If you want to be a part of the event and donate blood, you can find out more by going to 1045thezone.com/events.
Thank you, Jonathan Schaefer. It is Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons on 1045 The Zone. Special thanks to David Ubben for joining us. Yeah. Listen to the podcast at 10 o'clock this morning as soon as our show is over. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster with you. 66 teams would have made a playoff appearance since 1998. Great year. How many times do you think Tennessee would have made a 12-team college football playoff?
Since 98?
Yep. That includes the 98 team, so I'll give you that one. That's one.
6.
Nope. A couple of teams that I thought would have made it.
Ooh.
So 98 and 99.
Yeah.
01, definitely.
That's what I was thinking.
2001, by many accounts, the best team Tennessee's ever had. And then 03. And that's it.
That's it.
They don't have 07 in there.
They don't have 07 in there?
Nope.
Well, we had some bad losses that year.
Yeah, you
too.
did.
Yeah, we came along
Right.
strong at the end to win the East, which is what really helped us.
Yep.
I can see that. That's tough sledding. Tough sledding, Will.
The other little surprise they had, and I guess this was by virtue of Tennessee's losses to South Carolina and Vanderbilt in 2016, but those games that Tennessee would have had against, like that Vandy game Tennessee would have had to finish the season with Alvin Kamara in 2016, that Tennessee ends up losing and they lose a Sugar Bowl invite in doing so, would have been a lot more meaningful if Tennessee had possibly been on the outside looking in of a playoff berth.
Golly.
Because Tennessee would have been a top 15 team at that point, 15, 16. You know, you're talking about 6 at large in addition to the top 6 conference champions. It's brutal.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal, man. What are you gonna do? Like, that's where I'm hoping we can get to that point, Will, to where we're in that conversation. Have to be in that conversation. You crack the top 25, you got to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. I saw on ESPN, I think Utah fell to like 16 or 17 as far as their ranking, and that was kind of expected also. But if you're a team that's in the top 25, staying there has to be the goal as a coach, like year in and year out. Like, yeah, you can 20s, okay, but you got to walk your way back down again, you know? Like, that's my hope for what UT kind of turns into, man, after this week. The list I saw had us at 25. I'm not sure how the AP is going to look at, or the coaches.
They'll definitely move up. NC State, you would expect to drop out of the top 25.
You would.
With their loss to ECU. Utah's probably close. They're not going to drop out.
They didn't lose to ECU.
They didn't lose 20,
That's my
21-20.
bad. With their win over ECU.
Okay.
I still expect them to be
drop
close to dropping. A couple other teams, I don't know. We'll see. Tennessee's got a shot to be up in the top 25 this week, but they beat Pittsburgh the way that David Ubben expects them to beat Pittsburgh, like we discussed in the last segment, and they'll be ranked at the top 20.
I was a little shocked by his words, he said. Yeah, he's usually fair he's usually even keel when it comes down his analysis of what UT is at times. No, and I'm not knocking him one way or other behind that. Sure. It's just that I wasn't expecting him to say Pitt was that way and Tennessee should have their way with him. I'll say this, that won't be the case one way or the other. Pitt is going to play this game tight. You see, they only sold 500 level tickets to Vols fans.
I saw that.
And the only 100 levels that were there were majority of the band, supposedly. I'm not sure if that rumor was true. But they only sold. That is correct?
I believe so.
Wowzers. So for the band, you have to purchase tickets too?
No.
Oh, but the 500 level.
The fact being that Tennessee gave Pittsburgh a lot of lower level tickets a season ago, or sold them to them. For their section next to the band in that corner where Tennessee runs out. But that was not the case for Tennessee this upcoming weekend. Everything was in the 500 level.
All the way up at the top.
All the way up.
And what's crazy, Pitt doesn't usually support like this anyway.
Tennessee will have a lot of fans in Pittsburgh this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
There are going to be a lot
the
of
resale of
fans.
these tickets is high right now. Not overly high, but like there'll be a lot of UT people buying those pit tickets in the lower bowl.
Look, unless you're a student, I don't see any reason to go through a university to buy away tickets anymore. Not with the technology we have of ticket exchange.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like anyone really uses that.
Well,
like bowl games, I'll give you that one. But
I've only purchased tickets from those sites, never from like a university, except as a
yeah,
recently.
right.
'Cause
Bowl games, I understand, and if you're a student, I understand it. Other than that, just go on like your ticket exchange.
I
website.
know it'll be a shame if we had a bigger crowd than them, which I plan on it being that way.
Who do you think would have had the most playoff appearances under a 12-team playoff since '98? What program?
12-team playoff since '98. Georgia?
Nope.
Not
Georgia would have had 11. There's one team that would have had 18 playoff appearances since 1998.
Can't be Bama.
Not Alabama.
Okay, I was about to say.
Bama would have had 13.
Ohio State.
Ohio State. Yep.
Should have known.
Yeah. Ohio State would have made the playoff every year since 2013 under the new format.
How many would they have won?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
We got that.
Not the point there, SEC.
Second most, also not an SEC team, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Would
I
have
can
the
see
second
that.
most at 16.
I can see that.
And they would have made it every year since 2015.
I can believe that. Yeah.
So-
Oklahoma's been real solid.
That's what we're looking at.
yeah.
I like the 12-team playoff, but I am okay with arguments on either side about why it should or shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle on this one. Coming up next, fourth quarter of the show. Four's up,
Four's
ladies and
up.
gentlemen. We reset the headlines when we come back. We talk with Ronald Sylvester Slay live in the building at 9:20. Audio adrenaline for your Tuesday morning. Look, it feels like a Monday. You had the day off yesterday. Maybe you're at the lake. Maybe you're out playing golf. You're dragging a little bit this morning. 50 cc's of Ron Slay coming up at 9:20. One more hour. Four's up. Fourth quarter next on 104.5 The Zone.
9:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com sports desk. Titans released their first unofficial depth chart of the 2022 season. Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine listed as the team's starting receivers, followed by Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips. NPF, starting right tackle. Recently acquired Dennis Daly, the backup at left and right tackle. Dylan Radins listed as the backup at right guard behind Nate Davis. Danico Autry listed as a starting outside linebacker opposite Bud Dupree. That's the immediate response to Harold Landry being out with a torn ACL. Here's Coach Mike Vrabel on Landry's injury.
It's unfortunate. It's disappointing. Feel terrible, obviously, for Harold and the work that he's put in and his value to our football team, but we have to move on and get everybody ready to go win.
Giants at Titans kickoff 3:25 Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Lee Company countdown to kickoff will begin at noon. As always, Mike Keith and Coach Dave McGinnis will have the call courtesy of Titans Radio. College football last night in Atlanta. Clemson defeated Georgia Tech 41-10. And the Braves are at the Oakland A's tonight. 8:40 will be the first pitch for that. Atlanta just one game behind the Mets for first place in the NL East. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home with the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 4, the Labor Day Tuesday edition of Ramona Will, powered by All Four Seasons. The fourth quarter is here, and the energy continues on today's show. We've got Ron Slade coming up in 18 minutes. Always good to talk with our guy, the Firebird himself. Will be fiery with us here on the final hour of the show. Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in the world.
The best producer in the world.
Making the show happen.
Down.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling with you. 615-737-1045 if you want to jump in on the conversation.
Yeah.
We've got a Titans official depth chart. We have got college football happening last night of the not-so-great variety. And some good games over the rest of the weekend. And we have got a game week to talk about. And really starting tomorrow, Ramon Foster, we start looking at the New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Panthers.
We do, man. I got to get my scout meeting Wednesday together so we can break this down, man. We'll do our overs and unders as far as win records. When will we do that? Probably Friday, Will, is when you want to tease that before the big send-off?
Sure.
Okay. Cynthia Freeland, an NFL Network analytics expert, they put out their win-losses over and under totals today. And I think you breezed that a little bit, Will, a second ago. But they got the Titans at 8.8 wins.
ESPN had them at 9.5, and the writer that wrote that piece this morning took the under.
Took the under?
Took the under of 9.5 wins.
Jeez.
Gary on Twitter chimes in, at Ramon and Will, says, y'all haven't mentioned our ref for Sunday. You see this?
Oh, yeah, I did see
Jerome
that.
Boger. On the whistles this weekend. The absolute worst.
People were so mad about that. Are mad about that.
Second straight year that he's been the Titans' week 1 referee.
What a time to be alive, baby. You remember you had the hot mic last year.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh. So
wait, is that who that is?
That's who that was.
Really?
Yes, that's who that was,
that's who that
man. I had to get Shafe to play that whenever he gets the
Just
second,
disappeared
man.
on
He's
us for a
always
minute.
busy. He's always busy, man.
Just making the rounds.
But what's more interesting, it got the floor for the Titans at 5.2 wins.
Oh, goodness.
I'm like, come on, man. Like, what do you actually know?
Shafe, I didn't know the drop, the uh-oh drop you play is Jerome Boger.
That's not a true statement.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That is him, isn't it?
No, it's Carl Lewis.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was Carl Lewis.
No. Jerome Boger was hey, hey, hey.
No, that wasn't him either.
That wasn't him?
That was another different ref.
It wasn't very memorable to
Hold
me.
on.
That is merit. That is merit.
No, that was Sean. That was Sean Kemp, right? Yeah.
That's a basketball player.
No, I know.
Will.
I think his name is also. Is his name also not? His name's also not Sean Kemp, is it?
They made Sean Kemp.
I thought it was.
No.
No, it's not. There's somebody named Kemp that's a referee. I promise you there
No,
is.
Will. Absolutely not, sir.
Yeah, it wasn't Sean.
Absolutely not, Sean. But Jerome Boger is
I don't know.
it.
I'm going to find that now. That's going to bother me.
No, it'll be all right, Will. It'll be okay.
But Jerome Boger is the guy week 1. Hey,
Yeah.
look, I mean, you're going to have your worst Alex Kemp. That's what I was thinking of. You're going to have your worst I was close. You're
You
going to
don't
have
get
your
a
worst
demerit?
possible referee. Hey, he's on the phone. Don't bother him. He's out here working.
Wow.
That is a demerit.
Oh, my gosh.
That's what you get for boasting right
Tough.
there. But we get football on Thursday. We get NFL football on Thursday.
And a good one.
And a real good one.
Bills and Rams.
Bills
The
and
Super
Rams.
Bowl favorites against the defending Super Bowl champions.
Do you like having this matchup this early? You know,
Oh, I
like
love
Super
it.
Bowl favorites.
Absolutely love it.
Oh, you ready to roll with it?
Absolutely.
So like, don't tease me that early, man.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Who do you want to
Fine.
see? Like Jets and Jaguars week 1? Like what
No,
are
give me Rams and Bengals.
well, you can open with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see the helmet swinger himself, Aaron Donald, okay? Going right back to the scene of the crime against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's what I want to see,
That's
Will.
fair.
But I'll take the Bills, though. You know, why not? We'll see what either team
Games
is.
in LA. Then again, Bills will be the home team in LA.
Oh, well, yeah.
Every team
of
that
course.
plays in LA ends up being the home team.
Because it's a party there. It's
Yeah,
not
that's right.
much else there but a party.
That's right.
Yeah. It should be a good one, though. I'm looking forward to seeing what Aaron Donald looks like compared to him saying he was gonna retire. He thought about retiring.
Right.
Could you bow out that early
No.
if you're in his shoes?
Dude is still the best player in football at any position to me.
okay. Got the ring, got the bags,
Uh-huh.
helped transform a franchise from
That's right.
St. Louis to what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Know he's going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You're playing.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Just check.
When you're still not only the best at your position, but you're the best in football at any position,
Yeah.
he's the most dominant player in the league right now.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I
When
just
you
need
look
to
at
hear
the
what you're gonna
percentage
say.
of double teams that he attracts, things of that nature,
Yeah.
and just the general disruption that he has, there's no reason to take it to the house yet.
No, I'm with you. It's just interesting that guys always, struggle with that back and forth of, man, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't type of, lifestyle.
Right. 615-737-1045 is the number. We go to Gator Mike, our buddy on the phone lines. Good morning, Gator Mike. How are you?
Good morning.
What a great weekend of
Oh,
college
here it comes.
football. I know. Ramon, you had to be impressed, though, being an offensive line guy. Our offensive line played great. Those running backs were hitting the holes. Of course, Richardson is just a freak by himself.
Yes,
but
he is.
I was sitting there watching our offensive line going, my buddy Ramon Foster has got to be smiling, even though it's Florida, and an offensive line doing what they're supposed to do against a top 10 team.
Hey, listen to me, Gator Mike. I appreciate. You know what's even better? The fact that you, okay, somebody that didn't play OL is watching the offensive line, okay? That's all we want is awareness. That's all we want is recognition, okay?
Right. You know what? Like you said, I laughed a couple of weeks ago because I told a buddy the same story when you were talking about, like, the defensive guys talking about, like, man, with the hurry-up offense and all that stuff, and your remark was, you're the one that chose to play defense.
Yeah, that's because they wanted their names called. That's all that is.
Gator Mike, where does Florida get ranked after the win? Where are you ranking them after their win over Utah?
I think they'll be like in that 21, 22 range. I don't think they'll jump too much. I kind of told a buddy, I think maybe Utah was ranked a little high, kind of like Clemson.
Sure.
But I think also, too, nobody knew what to expect from Florida, but we had a lot of talent back, with Ventrell Miller being back on defense definitely helped. A lot of key pieces back. That Ricky Pearsall kid looked good. Of course, Richardson just, letting him play and stuff. It's just, he's a great athlete. And Billy's a smart coach. He's very methodical in what he does, very analytical driven. So, the way he breaks down a football field for where he calls the plays and stuff like that, I was interested to see. But I love to see that they came out and looked like a good football team compared to what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I like it. All right, thank you, Gator Mike.
Gator Mike.
I knew your victory lap was going to be here today, so thank you for not disappointing
you
us.
knew it was. And, hey, real quickly, I told Shafe, I think we need to approach Labor Day weekend every year like we do the opening couple of days of the March Madness. For us football fans,
Yep.
it's just great for 5 days to have college football. And,
No doubt.
definitely didn't disappoint. There were some great games.
It
but
did not.
I'm just glad it's here. And like I said, I'll be chiming in for, the next couple of weeks till the big matchup.
I like it.
Hey,
Thank you,
I
Gator
love it.
Mike.
Thank you, Gator Mike.
Appreciate the call.
Stay safe, man.
Jonathan Schaefer, can we please have Coach Dave McGinnis's thoughts
Jerome Boger's terrible.
He's
terrible.
There it is.
And his crew is bad. And and this is not just Coach Mack saying that. He became an official in 2006. I mean, he was the official, when Albert, got kicked out against Dallas here. I mean, when he got his assignment in 2013 to go do the Super Bowl, the rest of the officiating crews were a little upset because his grades have never been good. He has not done a playoff game since 2013. What does that tell you? All right, now let's move on.
There is nothing in the world that I love more than Coach Mack talking about Jerome Boger. And then he did get a playoff game this past year. You know which playoff game it was?
Which was it?
The Raiders and Bengals game where they had to just act like they didn't miss one of the easiest touchdown calls. Or it was blowing it dead before an interception.
Jerome Boger's terrible.
Jerome out here doing something right, man. Y'all can be mad at Jerome this weekend, though, man. Hey, it's opening week.
No, we absolutely can be mad at Jerome this weekend.
I can't. You know what's
the
crazy?
guy should not still have a job in this league after the gaffes that he had in the Bengals-Raiders game.
Jerome Boger's terrible.
Thank you, Coach Mack.
It's usually like quarterbacks that know referees' names. Like other than, what was it, Hockley? Like him?
Yeah, Ed Hockley.
Other than Ed being all jacked and he's like, man, we know who that is. Like,
right.
Why do we know Jerome Bogert, man?
Because he's terrible at his job. Because he's bad. Also, Brett Batchelor texts us, Sean Smith was the hey referee.
Sean Smith.
See, that's what I thought. I know there's a guy named Alex Kemp, but I also know there's a Sean Smith, and so I've combined them for Sean Kemp.
That is a demerit.
I don't care.
Yeah, just take it. Well, he's over here trying to correct stuff right now. Like, no.
I'm just taking you through my convoluted thought process.
Your L has been taken, and that is all right, okay? And with that being said, Jerome Bogert will be here this weekend, Will. No throwing stuff on the field, you Vols fans.
So, wow. After the loss that Jerome Bogert took, because, yes, officiating crews can take losses in the Raiders and Bengals Super Wild Card Weekend matchup, Adam Schefter reported after that game that Boger and his crew were not expected to officiate again in the postseason.
Wow.
Says that according to Schefter, the NFL grades their officials after each game. Boger and his squad are not expected to receive high marks in their most recent outings.
Jerome Boger's terrible.
There was a thank you. There was a Bengals touchdown that shouldn't have counted. A mistake amplified by the fact that Cincy eventually won by 7 points.
Yeah.
So it might have been Titans-Raiders.
Maybe he's
in Nissan Stadium without Jerome Boger's assistance.
I mean,
and then on that 3rd and 4, Joe Burrow rolls out of the pocket and fires a pass to Tyler Boyd in the back of the end zone. Was close to stepping out of bounds. Officials ruled that he was inbounds, and the result of the play was a touchdown. The problem is there was a clear whistle before he let go of the football. So the play should not have even been reviewable.
And guess what?
It was reviewable.
You get the first crack at him this weekend.
Oh, God.
In a semi-primetime game at that.
And a guy that, again, 2 straight years, your week 1 official is that man, Jerome Boger. So, whatever points of emphasis were in the NFL rulebook this past offseason, expect to see them far too often than you should.
You were going to get it this
Courtesy
weekend,
of that man.
Looking forward to watching Bogert do work. I am.
Jerome Boger's terrible.
First time anyone's ever said that before.
I can't wait to hit Twitter and watch the replies.
That's
You just want to watch the world burn.
I do. I do, Shave. I really do.
Coming up next, how does Ron Slay feel about Jerome Boger taking the whistles for the first Tennessee Titans game of the season? We'll talk to him about that. Talk to him about his most impressive college football team in week number 1 and give him time to talk about the Firebird, Barryon Brown, with his first touchdown as a Kentucky Wildcat. Ron Slay, Audio Adrenaline, up next on 104.5 The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything, such as the relief valve on your water heater failure, pouring gallons of water into your finished basement, or an electrical shortage in your office that causes extensive smoke, fire, and water damage, or that musty odor indicating you might have a mold problem. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's when you contact ServPro. They have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structure rebuilds. ServPro is the call to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So call the official ServPro downtown Nashville operators at 800 ServPro to see how they can help you get back to like it never even happened. ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction, and franchises are independently owned and operated.
It's Ramona Will on 104.5 The Zone. One final hour for you. Will Bowling, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, the best producer in the world. Joined via telephone today by some audio adrenaline, Ron Slay. Good morning, Slay. How was your weekend?
So hard. It's so hard to be a fiber.
There it is.
It's so hard to be a fiber. It's so hard to be a pearl cone fiber. Hey, man.
Barry on Brown, your boy.
Yeah.
Madrid. You just gonna sing the whole hymn, huh?
Hey, man, I sing the whole hymn on them, man, if they let me. You know what I mean? Hey, guess what, though? Hey, Will. Man, I told Savage probably about a year ago.
Yep.
I said, man, it's a dude at Pearl Cone, man. Like, his speed is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a different type of speed. And man, listen, I'm quick to say, not quick to say they'll play on Sunday. This young man, at some point, will play on Sunday because of his speed. If he can just stay on the right course and do the things right. This young man's speed is different. Like, Tyreek Hill is a different guy.
Mm-hmm.
Barry and Brown, this is a different human being. I'm going to be honest, man. Like, you don't see this too often.
Mm-hmm.
To go and beat NBA
That's right.
when you're the wide receiver and things aren't going right and they just put you at quarterback to run Wildcat. That's when you different, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's 11 guys that got to play on the field. This young man went out there and beat the NBA at NBA by him lonesome.
That's right.
You know me?
It was that obvious.
Man, it's serious, man. I'm gonna be real, man. So I'm intrigued to see what he does at Kentucky. That's how you started off, right? 100-yard kickoff. I mean, it can only get better from there.
Certainly. And I saw him run a 10.49 100-meter dash to win the state championship a year ago in 2021. That was as a junior.
And let me let you behind the scenes, Will.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't train.
Right. That was a football player coming out for track at that point.
He didn't
Literally.
train for that. He
Literally.
just went out there.
And there's a lot of technique that goes into running that fast at 100 meters that you can't teach. You either got it or you don't. But no, 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for Nashville native Barry on Brown. Cool to see that for Kentucky over the weekend. Kentucky didn't look great. Ole Miss didn't look great. Your Commodores, Mike Wright, Slay 2-0. Mike Wright has another good performance against Elon.
Say your Commodores.
Yeah, well, that's right. No, we're on the Vandy train. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
I like it, Will. I like it, Will.
Thank you. But who impressed you the most, Slay, in college football this weekend of the SEC?
Man, who impressed me the most, man, of course, Tennessee coming out and being able to play on Thursday and be vanilla as they were in order to hold something in the tank going on the road to Pittsburgh. I think also, man, Georgia. I mean, dude, Jalen Carter leading this defense, those tight ends, and Stetson Bennett, dog. Like, for this young man to take the scrutiny that he has, you know, being a guy that didn't really have a scholarship, you were questioned all last year with a phenomenal defense, and then you delivered in the national championship game. To bounce back in game one under the big lights and look unfazed.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I don't know what he did in the offseason. Like, whatever he did, he took it seriously and he was pissed off at the same time. And he came out there and showed it, man. This man looked so calm. He went to the line of scrimmage, checked everything that he had going on. And I will say, his offensive line stepped up for him to give him that time. But when they didn't, for him to be able to improvise, which I didn't know he had. I didn't know he had that in him. And he did it. So, salute to Stetson Bennett, man, getting the job done. Got to give a huge shout out to I got Brian Kelly. You know what I mean? Like I mean, it can't go no better than Brian Kelly. It can't go no better than you doing the two fingers over the eyes wave and putting up the L in the air on the 360 video. Like, it don't get no better than that. So we want to thank Brian Kelly for that, for giving us that treasure. And then this team going out there and letting Florida State, Norvell, shout out to him for getting it done. Like, I'm okay with LSU losing. Like, I wanted the SEC to go undefeated. But at the end of the day, I am okay with Brian Kelly taking the L. Shout out to Notre Dame. Notre Dame handling business against Ohio State.
Yep.
Yes, they lost, and there's no more victories. But this one, I'm accepting it.
Yeah.
I'm accepting it against Ohio State, man. Marcus Freeman, he got those guys playing for him. They run through the wall for him, and I think it'll be evident. I think Notre Dame will ever win the big game? I'm not sure. But competing, they're different. They're different.
Yeah. Wow. What a shot at Notre Dame, man. Savage. I mean, yeah, just nothing. Just nothing, man. Okay, let's move forward real quick. I just need your input on this one because to get you today. This Vanderbilt Wake Forest game.
Yes.
Battle of the minds, okay? Same type of recruits. I'm being very serious here. I don't know why you laugh.
Said that so straight.
I said that with a straight face,
Oh, you
okay?
did.
With that being said, man, they recruit the same type of players. Dave Clawson has a system in place in which they are a ranked team.
The sheer contempt in your voice right now.
I love it so much.
All right, screw it.
No, it's believable. It's extremely believable.
Are we still on the Vandy train or what this week, Savage? All right, come on, man.
Against the claw fence.
Hey, let me say this to make it clear. I'm a guy that's loyal to a fault.
Okay.
And if I'm down with you, I'm 10 toes down, stomped in the ground. I'm ready to ride. I believe in Mike Wright Jr.
Okay.
Mike Wright can get it done. Now, let me say this.
Okay.
I'm issuing a challenge. You know, and I don't even really like to do this, but I'm issuing a challenge. Offensive line for Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Can you protect this young man?
Right.
Can you protect your golden goose? It is time for you to step up and protect the golden goose. He has picked you up out of the ashes of the dumpster, and he is roped. Now, what you gotta believe, Mike Wright can get it done.
Yeah.
Can they stop someone, Savage? Like, not the entire game. I don't need no shutout. Just don't give up more than 20 points. If Vandy doesn't give up more than 20 points, they beat Wake Forest. They go 3-0. And then, hey, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on after that. But I do know Mike Wright can get it done. And that's without question. I'm ready to ride with it. He done show. Like, a lot of times it looks like he's running for his life. A lot of times it looks like it's designed. So, you know, I throw that out there to the coaching staff, man. Great job so far. Great job at putting him at quarterback, letting him improvise and letting him do his thing. Because speed kills.
Yeah, it does.
And that offensive line hold up just a little bit, though, because at some point, I mean, before we get to SEC play, we would like to see Mike Wright get a great victory. And against an ACC opponent, I think that's perfect.
By the way, the way he's talking about Vandy, I feel like we're at church right now.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Let them play, Shay. Let them play. And I want to tell you, when you come down
Hallelujah.
and you see Mike Wright, and you see how gracefully he's running to the end zone.
The golden goose.
When he gets there, and he gets to the end zone,
Tabernacle.
I want everyone, all 10 people in them stands, to raise their hands and say, Mike Wright we trust, Mike's Wright we trust.
Amen.
They God Almighty, Mike Wright we trust. Yes, sir. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
They're raising the expectations on West End like they're raising the name of Jesus in the Church of Slay. They're raising the name of Jesus like they're raising expectations. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
Did we just get kind of Pentecostal around here?
Yeah.
You can't come on here no more, Ron Slay.
We'll go there.
You can't come on here no more.
Y'all can thank Casamigos, y'all can thank Cheetos, y'all can thank Julio. All of them. You know what I mean? We ready.
Uncle
Let's do it.
Clear.
Ron Slay giving a sermon in favor of Vanderbilt is not something I had on my bingo card for college football this season. Not something I had on my bingo card.
Lubin said the House of Slay, baby.
Hallelujah. Oh, goodness.
Hey, donations by Cash App. You tell them.
You better know it. You better know it.
Donations.
Oh, my
We'll be here Tuesday. Y'all can catch us in there
That's
too
terrific.
for devotion.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
that's terrific.
Where they can catch you this weekend, Ron Slay, is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at Acrisure Stadium.
Yes.
Where we at on this, man? How do you feel about the Vols? Because David Ubben came on here earlier, and Dave is usually even keel.
Yeah.
But he was pro UT.
Said, I expect Tennessee to win convincingly.
Where you at?
You know what? I feel the same, man. I honestly do, and I'm trying my best not to have my orange tinted glasses on when talking about this.
I'm with you.
Okay.
But I really do feel like it's so much that's untapped coming out of game one.
Okay.
You know, versus Ball State, they were able to do what they wanted to do on sheer talent alone. It was nothing that we had to see going towards the end of the season when we watched the game and said Heupel schemed up. Look, man, look at this play he schemed up. At no point during the game did we say that.
Right.
So that lets you know to me that, man, you can expect something serious. You look at the Kentucky game. You look at the Alabama game. You look at the Florida game second half. Like, the plays are there.
Right.
We didn't see any of that against Ball State. Now, well, I do believe, I always ask you this as a church lover, man, Savage, what is the communication like for the offensive line? And you always say, man, it's only one unit in football that has to move like this, and it's the offensive line. So it will be put to the test this weekend.
It will.
You know, we got to see Pittsburgh against West Virginia, and we saw the blitzes that they were sending with their linebackers. It was crazy, and they were relentless. So if the communication is not there, Hendon does have that Houdini in him where he can get away, but that's not what you want.
Right.
That's not what you want. You want him to be on time, scheduled, getting the ball in and out, you know what I mean, and handling business like he's supposed to in the pocket. Of course he can run, but let's do that. Let's do that with an RPO. You know what I'm saying? Let's not make it where the ball snapped and you got to run for your life. We don't want that. We don't want the Mike White incident going on with Hendon Duck. That ain't what we want. So I do think they handle business. I think they spread Pittsburgh out. I think their strength is in their pass rush. I think they're able to use it against them. We got to see what these tackles do.
Yeah.
You know, you got a guy being moved from left to right. You got a guy subbing in and being punched in on the left. So tackles, it's time to step up. You know what I mean? Like this is your time. So I believe that they will win. I believe that they will win. And when you say convincingly, I believe 10 or more is convincingly.
10 or more is convincing.
Yeah,
Okay.
in a ranked game, in a hostile environment that it should be. I'm interested to see if the Pitt fans come out for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say it on the Savage.
Yeah, and their coach, Narduzzi, said, he was asked, I think yesterday or this morning, how do you feel about being an underdog? 7 points right now. He was like, I feel good about it. He was like, I'll go tell a friend, basically is what he said. Do you think they take that person? Like, I wasn't expecting 7 points or 6.5, whatever it is right now. What do you think they do for a team like Pitt that beat Tennessee last year with a first-round draft pick quarterback?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of points, actually. That's a whole touchdown. I was actually thinking they come into it like 4.
Yeah.
And I can see that, but 3.
6.5, 7.
Yeah, like that's a lot of points, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can understand.
But
it when
hold
you
up,
lose
hold
a
up.
guy like
You
Kenny
said
Pickett. Okay.
you said that's a lot of points, but you also said you think they can win convincingly by 10 or more.
Yeah, but setting the market, setting the betting market at 7, I didn't expect that. Now I expected Tennessee to come in and catch them off guard and catch them, everybody else off guard, because you walk away from the Ball State game like, what did they really show?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I walk away from the Pitt West Virginia game and say, ooh, they're gritty.
Yeah.
They can find a way to get it done at the end. That crowd was really involved. And you walking into that environment, that's tough. That's tough. So, I mean, Hendon Hooker to me is the X factor. So when you put Kenny Pickett in it, that's the reason that you could see the upset happening in Rocket Top. Vice versa, that's the reason you can see them winning convincingly is because of Hendon Hooker. But my question goes to the offensive line. Can they hold up for him? And I think they will. So, I mean, I do see at some point in the game it could be tied up 10-10, and then the balls just strike. You know, whether it be early or whether it be late, and hopefully hold on enough where you can start to get the ball to the running back and let him. You know, Jalen Wright. We also need him to step up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course, we know we're going to get out Small. Jabari Small, you're going to run behind your pads, but you got to have somebody to relieve him. And if Jalen Wright can get in there and get some 4 or 5 yard plays in there, either in space or running behind his pads, man, you really controlling it.
That's right. It's true. Slay, one number I am going to give the people, this one's free of charge here, for Tennessee and Pittsburgh, is the fact that Tennessee last year outscored opponents 191-50 in the first quarter and scored on its first possession in 8 of 13 games. Highest first quarter scoring team in FBS last year. The first quarter spread that just came out this morning, Tennessee 2.5 in the first quarter against Pittsburgh. If there's a number I'm most confident in, I think it's that one.
Yeah, I jump on that. Just because you start talking about schemes and things of that nature. And what Savage pointed out to me when watching this game, Narduzzi and them had to show a lot.
Yeah, they did.
And for an offensive man like Heupel, that's not what you want to do. You don't want that. He already is enough on his own. But to be able to kind of guess what you're going to do or see situations that he can put you in, I'm going to ride with Heupel all day when it comes to offensive scheme.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that, Will. Like, I'm definitely taking that in the first quarter. I'm going to look on matter of fact, I'm going to look on my app as soon as we get off the phone.
I just did it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go and get on there and jump on that right now before anything else happens.
It's going to move.
And I think that 7 is obviously going to move.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are going to jump on that, and they're going to have to raise that a little bit, at least to 8 or 9 before game day comes. But remember, boy, be in Pittsburgh this weekend.
That's right.
And guess what? Man, y'all better be ready, Pitt, because we coming with it. We talking cash money.
All money.
You hear me? Man, I'm talking about all of the money. We taking this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the ketchup bottles that they took off the store and we bring them on. We ain't even tripping on them. It's still Heinz Field. We're going to turn it back into Heinz Field. Ketchup for everybody.
French's mustard field now. Yeah, that's right.
That's the first question I'm asking. What are those big old ketchup bottles at? Because we're taking them in. That's my first question as soon as I walk up to Heinz Field.
Rod Slay, thank you for the energy for our Tuesday 3HL, of course, today 3 to 6 here on 104.5 The Zone. Always good, Slay. I would say it's always good to see you. Unfortunately, we don't see you, but we hear you. So always good to hear you.
Man, thanks to Savage. Shout out to Casamigos. Shout out to Don Julio.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I think they're going to give me a little nap in there, man. I love y'all. I'm going. I'm out here.
There he goes. And there goes Ron Slay.
All right, Ron.
As quickly as he appeared, he disappears into the night.
He gone.
Coming up, one final segment, headlines we missed. Get you on your way for your Tuesday. Coming up next, Ramona Will, powered by all 4 seasons of 104.5 The Zone. One final segment this morning.
Oh, baby, you got what I need.
Got what
let's
I
go.
need. Say he's just a friend,
Come on, Will.
but you say he's just.
Oh, baby, you. Hear the pipes, William?
Flex.
Hey, now.
Oh, goodness. Good vibes on a Tuesday. Tuesday that feels like a Monday a
A
little
Monday, Tuesday, baby.
bit. Hope
the
you had
way,
a great Labor Day weekend.
We're working on a new segment called The Church of Slay.
Hallelujah. Praises be.
Tabernacle.
I love it. Special thanks, Rod Slade, David Ubben, for hanging out with us this morning. So you're going to go get the workout in that you couldn't do at 4:05 a.m. now?
At some point, man, I got some work to do after work today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to get it in, though. At some point, it's going to get
It's going to
done.
happen.
Yeah. Hey, look at me in my eyes. It's going to get done.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah, I'm the captain now. I got to. I've committed. I still got my workout clothes on, man.
That's true.
Dogged me. Don't ever go, like, always. I shouldn't have to check the hours on the 24/7 gym. Should I not? Like, on the day that it's open. Yesterday, cool. I get it.
Wait. It's a 24/7 gym?
Yeah.
You should never have problem going to a 24/7 gym.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Because you have a key to the 24/7
That's
gym.
what I'm saying.
I don't understand that.
Imagine me sitting in the parking lot with the Alonzo Mourning face. Like, yeah. Holiday weekend is all I can think of.
There's a certain amount of motivation you have to get yourself out of bed to go work out at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then to be disappointed and not be able to work out that early.
I couldn't even like focus on
tough
like
one.
I started reading like NFL headlines and just
I mean, Moan was
Well,
grumpy.
I
He was
was-
grumpy.
I usually stop and talk to Shafe on the way in, and I was just like, "What up, Shafe?"
I mean, this is the best representation we have of that moment.
Yeah,
It was.
that's exactly. It better not be Sunday if something happens. Okay, nothing happening, but a dub on Sunday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, got to get this dub. I'm excited. Will Scout meeting Wednesday starting off tomorrow.
I was going to say,
man.
coming up tomorrow,
Yeah.
we begin our look at the New York Football Giants. Danny Dimes, Kadarius Toney.
Kayvon Thibodeau looked dinged up.
Yep.
There's a few guys on their roster, but Leonard Williams is still that dude,
He is still that guy.
and he's around.
Revenge game for Adoree Jackson, perhaps.
Ooh, it's like saying Mufasa with the hyenas. Ooh,
Uh-huh.
Mufasa.
It was kind of weird the way his time ended here. Adoree Jackson's coming off the injury in 2020, just wasn't really the same player when he came back. But that dude against Baltimore in that playoff game was lockdown corner material.
Yeah, he was.
And then it just kind of, I don't know, big contracts, just had to move on.
They will chase the talent, though, and that's what the Giants did. So much so they ended up, they paid him also, which is, hey, great for him. I'm excited that, that guy can leave and go get a bag and also continue to be a starter. So
Isn't it weird seeing a guy get cut who then gets a pay raise? That's what the New York Giants did with Adoree Jackson.
they did.
That doesn't happen often.
No.
David Gettleman don't work there no more.
That's right. That is exactly why
basically
he
he-
is no longer employed by the New York Football Giants.
No, baby.
Sheesh. Yeah, this should be a good one this weekend, man. I'm looking forward to previewing it just simply because it's the first one of the year. We got ball back. I feel like this summer was the longest break
Yeah, it did.
that we've ever had as far as sports goes, and it wasn't. What's crazy is I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, this was probably our busiest summer as a family,
Yeah.
but as far as sports-wise, it was like a huge lag and just pick-upness of anything almost,
Didn't have a long Preds playoff run.
No.
Didn't have as long of Tennessee baseball as he did last year.
No, Vandy baseball also.
Vandy baseball, nothing. Yeah, I mean, you had realignment. You had college football playoff, stuff, and you had, the Big Ten move. But that got us through like a week?
Yeah, pretty much. It
Yeah.
hit the dopamine just a little bit, and now here we are, man. Week 1, we got football in 2 days.
We're
dog.
back, baby.
We're back. Like 98.
Tell you what, if Harold Landry was going to be in the team, and if you felt really good about that Titans front seven, you would think Danny Dimes might have over 2 or 3 fumbles in this game.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is a fumble-prone quarterback. So we'll get into that tomorrow in terms of the evaluation of them. And I want to look at Pittsburgh a little bit as well tomorrow.
Okay.
Look at Keaton Slovis. Have a scout team Wednesday for both the Vols and the Titans.
I have one
And
of
dive into
Ramon's
that
pit
matchup.
guys to call in tomorrow.
Say
Oh, really?
what?
Might have Jeff call in tomorrow.
Wow. This is where we're headed, huh?
What? He was on with us last year when he previewed Pitt.
That's
What are you talking about?
It's just we're really beefing this year with it. They've been real boastful as of late, and I'm like, all right,
Feeling their Wheaties.
yeah, they're eating their Wheaties big time. Wow, Leonard Williams only got one Pro
Y'all
Bowl.
like to make stuff up to make yourself feel good, too.
I do. You're right. That's my boss.
Are you going on over there this week?
That's the plans, man.
When are you going on there?
Going on up to probably Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably going. On.
Moan will be in Pennsylvania for Friday's show. In
Oh, really?
enemy territory.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to tell you after the show.
Lovely.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you after. So
Fine with me.
You're outside the box, in the box.
Oh,
So,
perfect.
Yeah. So
I'm not that guy.
Like, you don't quite have velvet rope yet.
No,
Okay.
you got to wait for one of us to pull up to the club. Like, Will, come on, man. He's in that spot.
I mean, you'll get there. You just ain't there yet.
That's
Like,
fine.
Well,
Not really an athlete.
look at his
that's
face right now. He's just like, oh,
Everybody
hurts.
Everybody hurts. 9:52. Appreciate David Ubben. Appreciate Ron Slay hanging out with us on this
sir.
Tuesday edition. Middle of the week tomorrow. Congrats, you already made it to your Wednesday show tomorrow. Scout Team Wednesday. We will get the word on the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Panthers. But for now, Ramon Foster has a word for the good people of Nashville, Tennessee.
We survived Labor Day. Fall is here. Football season is here. But remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.
Goodbye.